Hello, I'm live on YouTube. This is Tradespotting doing technical analysis on GME and AMC on Monday the 11th of October. I'm on this screen. Okay, so congratulations, I've made it here just before market close. Excellent. How are you? How is everybody? Am I actually live? It seems as though I am. Yes, I see people talking. Excellent. Everything must be working then. There's GME. Oh, lovely jubbly. 178 spot 10. Having made it up to the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, the measured move we talked about. 15-minute time frame in the background, very small, but you can sort of see the edge of it there. That's our way of our little drawings and our horizontal lines and whatnot. And GME doing what we'd asked it to. We'll go over and look at AMC as well. And we'll do technical analysis on a slightly larger chart where you can see what I'm doing. And I'll get everything set up. In the background. Is that where I need to be? In the background, yes. Thank you very much for joining me. So if you'd like to know anything about GameStop or the technical analysis for GME or AMC, if you'd like me to look at the charts for those or anything else or anything in particular, just let me know. I'll get right round to it. Market's closed 178 spot 10. Hi Vic, before your bedtime, I'm going to get back on slightly sooner now. I know that. I was just trying to get a slightly later audience by going later, and also it was fit in with the schedule because I was busier last week, couple of weeks, but well, doing other things the last couple of weeks. But now better. So, but I'll get you before your bedtime. Bump. Right, so I'm making it so only subscribers can talk. There you go. That's not all that big a request. Bump. Save. Excellent. So everybody's happy. If you want to, you can check out the merch. It's over at unreasonable.shop. It's pretty cool stuff there. You'd like it. Sick shirt. Thanks very much, HG. It's lovely. Ping pong. Oh, look at that. It goes to Dan. We love you around here, Dan. Thank you so much. As you can see, I've got the chart, the ticker. Oh, the time. I should start that, shouldn't I? Is that start? That's the start button. There we go. It has begun. The ticker, the time rate, the ticker, the price, and the chart in the background. And then you can see what I'm looking at, and Stunk Puppet, who's there looking at you. Thanks, Dan. Lucky Fiver. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. There it comes up across my face. Ha ha ha. Right. So, what I'm on to now, that was me watching what you were watching at the time. So by the time I said that and something else is on my face, it'll make no sense. Anyway, we're going to go into the technical analysis. We're going to do it. We're going to do all of that. Oh, look, I can talk. Grizzled primate, you can talk. No, nice. Hello, you bing bongs. Hello, Shay. Sick shirt. Thanks. Oh, I don't want top chat on. I want live chat on. I don't want that over here. I want it over there, so it's not in my way. I want this also out my way. I want this here. Is this correct? I think it is. I think I'm now on the right track. Yes. Okay. So. Thank you very much for joining me, as I said there, and I texted it to you as well. So there you go. If you're deaf, you can also watch along with Tradespotting and interact with me. Oi, chat. Bing bong. So hello, welcome you. If you're blind, then obviously you've got my beautiful voice to listen to, and I'll try and explain price action and what I'm doing on the charts so that you don't even need to look. And then it'll be very clear for everybody, won't it? We'll all be happy with that. I've got that up, I've got this up. I can also put this on. Right, I think that's us. Is that us? We've got our lights have changed anyway. So I'm assuming that things are working. And correct. So I don't need that up any longer. Move it out of the way at least. And there's that there. So fabulous. Everything's working. Right. Congratulations. We made it with no technical errors. I didn't mute myself. Everything's fine. Though the problem is my tea is cold. I think we could be up at C point of a bearish bat pattern if you start X on 21st at the high. Could be at the C point. C point. Well, you're way ahead of yourself there. If you're but okay, cool. You start X on 21st January high. Oh my goodness, a huge, massive one, eh? You're talking about a huge, massive harmonic. 21st January high. I've not got my fibs on. I've not got my fibs on, Corey. There's one. I suppose that is one. And then I suppose you're taking this 50% here and stretching it out. I think we might have done something like this before once on the channel, but not a bearish bat. So you're thinking that, and then this 50% retrace, and there's your X to your A. Where's your C? No, you said your C, didn't you? Your C. Oh no, we're at the C point. So your X to your A. Okay. This is your B. You think we're at a C point here? Bearish bat. If you take it from the high and you're going X to your A here, this is your X, and then your retrace is this way to the top side. Oh, Jimmy. And then what? You're going down to this. This is your X, this is your A, right? That's what you're saying. This is you're taking it from your high, and then you're going up, and then you're going to here. There's an 886 retrace for the B. And then still back here, isn't it? We didn't get lower, so you'd say that's your 382, but not quite on it, but close. Right, within the, what is it, right? And then this is your, where's this anyway? I'm getting distracted, but that's interesting, Corey. I'll look at that some more when I'm not on the live show, maybe. Or like maybe later on in the live show, look at it some more. And where did these drawings come from? This looks suspiciously like Rocky's drawings, doesn't it? It's a red drawing. Looks very much like a Rocky drawing. Or was it me? I was drunk the last time I was looking at this chart. Right. Who knows who it was? There's a little bit in the way, so I'll move it. This is the period. What? Maybe I did all of this on a higher time frame. It's quite possible, right? It's quite possible. Especially because I went up through the time frame, 15 1 minute. Yeah, 15 1 hourly for it. I went up and I would have drawn stuff on at the end and yada and blah blah. So right, we had this. So yeah, so Corey, here's another harmonic. First mentioned, I think Corey mentioned on the Discord, was it? Corey? Trey. Oh, this is Tradespotting. I was looking for crochet mocking. Yes, you've been looking for crochet mocking. That's next door, mate, though. That's Angela next door. She'll help you out with that. Right, so, where were we? Right, we're on the 15-minute time frame. We're looking at GME, and we're getting our footing again. And we're talking about price action recently, what it's been doing today, and for that, we'll zoom in down here to today on a 15-minute time frame. Let's start on the daily time frame. Like, you know. Well, a lot of that was wick. Is it a bullish wick? Is it a bearish wick? You're above the 200, the wick above the 50, closed below it and below your 18 period moving average on the daily time frame, having had that opportunity to recover them both, plus the 55 exponential. So, and the body close was below this area, a breakdown area. All of this was within the wedge. Since then, you've done that move. It's give or take the measured move from outside the wedge. It was Fibonacci level there, take you in around your 0.5 level. It was a very bullish part of the day at that point, 190, was it? What was its high today? 188 spot 49. Quite strong move. So this, we'd have to look at this on different time frames to determine if this wick is bullish or bearish. But be sure of it. You can look back and say, well, these might not be dojis in context. You know, they might just be like positive candles. This one was right at resistance, open and closed above it. Wick took us up to your previous resistance. Still ended up having a body, but it was a doji, and it came at the bottom of this trend, which started with this other doji, and it had very bullish recovery on those wicks. So then, well, on the daily time frame, can't perceive much more than that. So the areas above that you're looking to get to are that 5.5 retracement on Fibonacci at $190, and then it's your Fibonacci golden pocket up here at 618.65 Fibonacci, which itself doesn't necessarily determine that you're going to go around into an uptrend. On the daily time frame, your lows and your highs, and then a lower high, and this high in that context was lower than your previous high. So you're only really looking at a downtrend. You slap more of it on the charts and you see more of that. It's this daily time frame until you get back to this high here, which is ultimately the high since you put in a previous low. And at that point, you're saying, well, on the daily time frame, in the context of the totality of price action, since it's been up here at resistance, you could say that it's going sideways with higher lows and lower highs, which is consolidation, and with these bullish accumulation patterns dictating so much of what's going on with price action, and with momentum increasingly weaker to the downside and the top side. Though those areas of extreme price range always beginning and ending at the peaks. You'd say the fact that it hasn't dropped, I mean, you'd go back to the fact that on the daily time frame, the fact that it hasn't dropped from its resistance means this is consolidation at resistance, which means it's accumulation. So this is people accumulating. Usually it's people that have got more liquidity than others, although we know most institutions are leaving it to us. You would suggest then that this means that it's the same old apes that have been buying it the whole time are buying more of it at all of these lows, and they're the ones driving price action, and that's us. And that's probably because we own the company many times over. So that's the daily time frame. It was a positive day, but you'll have to look at lower time frames to figure out the context of that price action and what it likely means with regards to this thesis of this wedge and then further extensions on this move. Say, for example, you do conquer that 0.5 Fibonacci, aim for the golden pocket, fill in this circle here and conquer that horizontal support, looking left, that would be important. Then you go on and make, like, that's the measured move plus some, but then it's a Gartley, which is like what you'd expect the measured move out of that to be, Gartley being the harmonic here that's like slightly shaded blue. So this move here, this wick here, another couple of days like that with these bullish wicks, this is what's going on, right? It might not be, we're going to investigate. Then you're taking this golden pocket, the 618, you open and close above that. That would suggest it's a potential trend shift, which you'd see about the 786 and the 886 if they weren't just thrusts and extensions of body closes back below this 618. I'd expect price action to then evolve and take you up to this other horizontal at $217. It's the C point when you look left on the harmonic, and then you go on a bit more and you think, well, the only thing stopping you from above there is this diagonal sloping supply line, which on the daily time frame and the weekly time frame it's very difficult to draw it in until this A came in, because you're like taking it from these wicks and it was just too high for your second peak on that move, but you got it through here and here, and so like it's potential, right? And it will form some influence on price action, whether that like us flying through it quickly has a meaning and us also stopping at it, which I'd suggest is more likely, also has some meaning, and then how we react to that congestion at that point. So there's another level above you which you need to beat, and that's what it looks like from here. But you might do that and then retest it or slip back into it, because who knows? Like personally, I don't put much emphasis on this downward sloping supply line with regards to a tradable pattern, because I don't think it properly represents the market psychology that we're experiencing right now. I think actually more likely is that this is an ascending triangle or an upward sloping channel, but we'll get to that in a moment. Really quite quickly, a moment after this very moment, in fact. And so what you'll likely see is you come up here, you maybe put in a pause, then you break up and you hit the extension, the 1272 Fibonacci extension, which is also likely considering the nature of this harmonic and the fact that it's coming at the bottom of a low and that it's on a daily time frame, and that the context of this thing, the greater context, has been putting in higher lows, then, you know, that could be considered quite bullish. Also, you look at the RSI here and you can see what I was talking about with regards to that bullish accumulation within this wedge. You break out, you retest it, you come back for some sort of horizontal retest, which is like what's happening here. And then after you recover the center line, on each occasion you either retest it or you don't, right? This one you didn't really. This one, I mean, that was like you went straight through it, then tested it once. Like, so here's not likely similar, something around these areas too. And that's how you use and implement these oscillators and indicators. It's not just like, oh, well, this is what Investopedia says, so I'm going to be a fucking idiot and right? It's not that. It's you use them in combination with meaningful things, like horizontal resistance is a meaningful thing. 200 period simple moving average, that's a meaningful thing. A 50 period simple moving average, that's another meaningful thing. Right, anyway, then what likely happens is like you're above that 50 and you're above that 200 at the stage where you've conquered the 618. They'll be holding you up, and this will be your overall thing pushing you down. Your price action will likely tighten again within this top segment of this. We're growing it as a equal isosceles triangle for the moment, but equal opportunities triangle, top bottom side. But the truth is, it looks a lot more like a bullish pattern to me. Anyway, so like I say, you cover the 618, you're above those meaningful areas, and you're above those meaningful moving averages, which should speak to the trend, and you'll be stuck within this, between these two tightening places. Thanks very much. Well, was I blame myself? TD, that's appreciated. Cheers, mate. So that's what I expect for GME to be doing over the next wee while. And then the question is, does it break up above those levels? And you go to 1618, that's a full extension of this harmonic. That's the most you could really ask for as a sensible trader. That's appreciated. Cheers. That's really what you could ask for. Asking for any more than that. Greedy is a trader. So from a charting perspective, you're looking at and you're thinking, like, what does that mean, right? Well, it's not unreasonable from a person who's holding it and looking at it and wants to know and have some idea of price action. If you're not trying to learn, you just want to know watching this to feel better. Well, what it means from a don't be greedy to a trader is like, you know, what question you start asking yourself is, what's greedy trader looking for? Like, what at this stage? Shit, I didn't go to the big charts. I'm such an idiot. Hopefully you could have seen something there. I don't know. Anyway, here's the bigger charts, and you can see it's slightly better. Chic. That donation means even more now. Thanks, TD. I must have been doing something right. Yes. So that I actually did this right. Rocky and I did this right. We got these. These are walkie talkies, but they're not. They're like industrial radios. And unfortunately, it works all the way up, right to Rocky's place. And then as he walks in his front door, it stops working. So maybe it needs a bigger aerial if you know anything about that, help me out, because Rocky and I would be able to like, shh, you're on the wrong charts, you fanny, etc. Hey, I try that because we both also use our phones for different cameras when we're doing things, so it doesn't always work that we can get in touch with the phones. Also, you know, whatnot. Anyway, back to the technical analysis now on bigger charts. Welcome to those bigger charts. You might get a better picture of what I was saying on the oscillators, and if you were listening along, I was hopefully explaining things or articulating what I meant so that you could understand it without necessarily paying too much attention. It's just the bullish levels above us and those, whoa, charts, calm yourself. So, and those reasons why we might expect congestions above. And also, like, if you know what I'd say about 786 and 886 retraces and whatnot, especially when volatile markets, and we have experienced an uptick in volatility recently, then, you know, these sort of things and a continuation of the previous trend is not unheard of. And testing this 200 period moving average on the daily wasn't particularly necessary right now. So there is no guarantee of these things, but that's what you're looking at if you think that the bullish thesis is not like not ignoring those things. It's taking it all into account and saying, well, if you see strength building at those times, as you do here, like your momentum to the downside is dropping off and you're about to get across in the MACD, you've got a positive breakout on the RSI from that area. Whoops, a daisy. Let's zoom in there and turn off these drawings. And you see your RSI has recovered its own moving average. It's done it above the bearish control zone and it's headed for the center line. Get long antenna, Vic Vince. Is a long antenna going to do the job? If it does, then that's what I'll do. I'll get a comedically large antenna for the radios. It should work. It's like one of those decent Blaufang things. Thanks, Vic. If the longer antenna works, I'll definitely do that. That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Thanks for staying up past your bedtime. I'm looking at the wrong camera again. Hi, thanks, Vic. Appreciate it. Also, your TA the other day, excellent. I thought it was excellent. Rocky and I watched it together, and the first time I saw it was with Rocky. It was great. So you went through this zone moving average heading for the center line. That's what I was talking about, right? So it's doing that uptick of volatility. At the same time, you've got a weakening momentum to the downside. That's very positive. It's coming up and at a buy zone, buy to support, not at resistance. So, well, that's obvious. This is about as much TA as I can get through a daily time frame. I can do some more actually, right? So I'll stick on the Bollinger Bands and I can say the top level Bollinger Band comes in $208. By the time that price action gets there, that'll be slightly lower. You will then though need to recover your basis line of the Bollinger Bands if you're aiming for the top side, and at that point you can expect 1, 2, maybe 3 touches. If you just skirt like straight through it, you know, here you had 3 touches or so, broke through. You know, here you had a number of touches before falling down, here before breaking through it again. Anyway, you get the picture, right? The basis line is usually important. It also comes in at the 55 exponential, which is at 185 to $190. That zone, as we're talking about, it's very interesting for lots of different reasons. So you start conquering that one. You know, that's so much harder than what we took. Why have my drawings gone? I've hidden them. So much harder than doing the breaking and holding a 618, because there's so many other reasons for price action not to get here in the first place, including the 50 period moving average and the fact that you were previously in a downtrend. Like, so, you know, and this measured move, sure, you can do that out of these things and then continue on downwards. Like, that was all you were necessarily expecting from that wedge. So it's not necessarily benefiting you anymore because you have got close enough to it. So there's that to bear in mind. But at the same time, what would you do if you are looking at short? Well, there's a straight, all there's where you're looking to aim for from here, $20. Whereas, like, that's not really worth the risk, is it? Because it could easily go to, like, say, straight to the 618, and that's $20 on the other side. So, like, unless you like 50-50 trades, you quite often wipe out your account. There's, like, not really, it's in a no trade zone for people going short, which is why I would expect, should you even conquer this 0.5 area, it'll just go to the top level. This horizontal resistance and 618 are unlikely to prove to be the end. They'll be the first confirmation that you are truly on for a 1618 extension. You'll be up at $256 again. And that's it confirmed across all of your indicators and the daily time frame, giving you that on all the different information. And then in order to get there, you just need to go through the top Bollinger Band, which, like, as soon as you do that and hold it on 1, 2, 3 closes on daily, you'll just start taking huge moves up, like as you did here. See that, like huge move up. Whereas all of the nature of these things, so I can explain it to you. Well, he's got the very first one. Closing outside the Bollinger Band, holds it, right? I mean, you drop back in afterwards, but it goes through it 1, 2, 3, drop back in, but 1, 2, 3, drop back in 1, 2, 3, like the extension on it when you're outside of it for 3 closes too, like here 1, 2, 3 outside of it, then you get massive blast off. And then here again, like you move out 1, 2, 3 outside of it, and then you've got your full extension of the move. But like, you know, you wouldn't be unaware of it happening at the time. Where you've got another 1, 2, 3 out of it, huge move, and then here, like it's very messy now. All the drawings on the chart. You just have to take my word for it. The 3 closes out the top side of the Bollinger Band is bullish as fuck. You just have to take my word for it, or you can like backtest it on any asset you're having to look at in the world, right? So there's that. And I'm talking on a daily time frame. So congratulations, the fact that whoop-de-doop-de, you just do that on the weekly, even better, right? You'll find some fantastic trades. So yeah, that's GME TA, basically it's all done, even though I was on a daily time frame. It just is, eh? It's good TA too, fucking kick ass. Right, what else will we look at? I don't even like, I mean, there's other things I can put on that, but whatever, that's the way it is. That's the style I've got for the presentings and for the educating, and it's quite good. But there's other charts I've got that also say similar shit plus extra. So we'll see, you know. Like I was doing all that on this Fibonacci. There's Fibonacci back here, and since then we put in a higher high. We haven't put in a lower low or a higher high. Since this is a definitive part of the move, this is a Fibonacci that depicts a lot of other TA I'm doing. The 1618 extension, that's $637. That's all, like, in terms of probabilities and whatnot, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump, and doing most of this will confirm that as well. Make it, like, definitely, especially if you start getting back above here, right? Anyway, what else? Right, I should do something else because everyone wants to know other shit. Right, down to the 4-hour time frame. See, what does that mean for stuff? Here's your RSI, it's gone. Let's turn off this drawings because we know what you needed to do, and here's done it, right? It's like the center line, you're not quite above it, but then we'll see, right? We'll see how that goes. At the end there was a little bit down, so if you see a retest of it and then you're slowly look around below it and then come back above, that'd be very bullish. If you don't, then it wouldn't be, right? We've got these drawings on here which were either done by Rich or myself that said you'll get this at the center line thereabouts and you'll come back and have this test. Or I think that was probably me. Anyway, this is like the retest of the wedge, or else that was, or else this is the retest of the bullish move afterwards. Depends where price action is at the time, but we're only looking at what the RSI was likely to do, and my drawing suggested it's likely to come back down here, and it probably was mine because I can see that these are me talking about the wedge breakout. So here's another one of them that's likely there. I mean, yeah, I drew it, price action did it. So like, I've drawn it on RSI for it to have done it. It's just stupidly fucking good. Anyway, the center line of this overall formation, like this is what we talked about last time we were up here, right? And we reached 197, $200 afterwards, and we are like, you know, when we get there, it'll be the center line of this overall formation. It's really important. And here it's the same story. Get there above it. It's really important. It's the 0.5 suggests you're going to get to the 618. Once you're there, what's important about it's this overall, it's the center of this formation, and above it, you'll feel in your bones that things are more bullish. And those people on the other side of the trade will also feel it in their bladders. Like it'll be, things are slightly more bullish when you're above that line. And then I mean it from a context of this overall price action could quite easily fuck somebody's huge firm, right? Which would leave other people fucked and could go crazy. And that, because of the volatility within it and the nature of this thing and the market participants. And like, what more can you get from the daily time frame? Well, you could go back and build on other harmonics that take into consideration these Fibonacci's, this one and this one, as Corey did mention, a bearish back pattern, I think, at the start. And that would be interesting to look at that and see where the extension were for that on the downside. Obviously, it's a bat, like you'll have a number of them, and some of them will be brutally scary. Interesting though. And And yeah, so that's that, right? What the fuck? I'm on the 4-hour time frame. Oh yeah, I tried to fit more information in. Here's your 4-hour. We'll look at the moving averages then. You had a cross, this negative cross, price action came up, tested it on the 50 period. You'll probably have, I probably said this, right, that this cross was going to happen, the price action was going to come up and test it. I probably said that on Friday. I don't know, I published the video, the clips of it last night because the YouTubes took it down. And then if I got the video back today because I managed to communicate in a way that was undeniably true and showed that they were affecting all the hard work that I did, and it was, and I got speaking to the right person at the right moment, so I got that back. But we'll see how that situation evolves. Anyway, so we will with this one, 50 period moving average, cross below the 200 period moving average, you'll likely get a test of it. You probably get a test of the 200 too. That now comes right into this horizontal, right in that target area. You got your 50s. These are your Bollinger bands. So they ain't going to turn them off because they're getting them away this time frame. 18 period moving average, 55 exponential. The trap between these two before you trap between the 50 and the 200s, you know. Says it speaks for itself. So then you're looking for this 200 to be like open and close above that on the 4-hour. You are opening and closing it and have been since forever and a day above it on the daily. And have put in what I'd consider a test to be of it now. So that necessitates you dropping below the 200 on a 4-hour in a consistently bullish period of price action. Though that doesn't speak to a trend change, it does speak to a significant test. On the 4-hour test of the 200, you can't really say that that would be a definitive guide to price action for GME. You know, it's been like below it most commonly for quite a while, and price action still at the high end of that range. And it was below it a number of times, like on the way up to the move that took you to the third high within this formation, which is like significant compared to the breakdown areas. And then you look left, and then the Fibonacci's you put in the top area and even above the golden pocket. So again, it's all with a bullish inflection, everything. So that's that, you know, and volatility on this thing, you know, like this is what I say about things like GME. People who were asking, like, they're like, oh, where do I put my money? How do I make money trading? You know, and then I'm like, well, things that go up and down loads, they're kind of good. And then they say, yeah, but well, I really believe in, right, X RP. And I say, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's cool. And the reason that that's a good thing to trade isn't because you believe in it, right? Because like it helps you to care less if you're trading to make money. It helps to care less about the thing, right? To actually not give a flying shit at all what is other than the 3 or 4 letters, or maybe 1 or 2, whatever the ticker is. That's all you should really care about. And then the charts, and what do they tell you, and how do you manage your risk? Because that's got nothing to do with what color their logo is, how nice they are to their staff, or the location of their shops. Like, none of those things actually matter to the charts. They couldn't give a shit about them. And like, you will. So it's better if you don't think about those things. I'm not sure why I'm talking about it. Risk management, yeah. And how it helps if you're looking at the charts. So this is the... Why am I even talking more still about GME? We're on to what? The hourly time frame here. And we're looking at this 200 period moving average. You're below the 50 period at which you caught here. You traced it down, you recovered, you tested 200. This is what we talk about, trend checks, you know, and you're checking that one and you check the other until such times as one breaks, and then you know what the dominant trend is, and you can trade off the back of that too. And that, you look at that on other assets, you'll be able to make loads of money. On GME, we're looking for the definitively to be on a positive trend. That would take us to this level 196. You're above that center line of this overall formation that price action has been up here when you've been in this period of consolidation at resistance. You'd also be above your 618 for your most recent Fibonacci. You'd be close then to the breakout period of these formations, which all have measured moves, taking you to the most bullish scenario you could hope for in this chart it's painted for itself. And you'll be above the 200 period moving average and the 50 at that time, tracing up likely exponentials, even on shorter time frames and early, with the odd check of the 50 and the 200 along the way. And I expect price action either from this low or one that comes in not too far from it at the same horizontal or the band line here to be the last bargain opportunity you get on GME. And who knows if you're going to get another one, right? That's what I expect. Though that all being said, there is a chance it could break down I saw that Ryan Cohen managed to get himself down to a GameStop in Florida. I wondered how that was a big event, and what he's up to other than those sort of things. Yeah, so you're 1618 extension into 414, and you're looking at this being an ascending triangle, at which point you've got a measured move breakout that takes you into an upward sloping channel. These things all come together and are all confluent with your horizontals, with the thing that says on your momentum, with the historical price action. And like Rocky was saying this morning, the past doesn't repeat, it rhymes. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. I like to say the past is prologue. There you are. And that's true, it is, unless you were born yesterday, in which case, you know, you can still read about it because it's likely to be real for price action. Right, 168.18, 255. That's what you're really looking at. Right, you've also got your Fibonacci, golden pocket Fibonacci sequence from previous move here on left. So that's what you're looking at, right? It's also the point A of this potential harmonic here, which your D point there. Great work, Corey. Great work, Rocky. Great TA there. Why are we still talking about GME? This is so good. I've done so much GME TA. Everybody must be so delighted. Are you all delighted? Let me just check the statistics. The statistics say you fucking hate it. The statistics say I'm giving you cancer. That's what they say about this. That there's 70 people watching who haven't even clicked the like button, and that nobody gives a fucking shit about the work I'm doing here. So that's interesting. Thanks, John. A little sticker there. That's appreciated. I appreciate you. Thank you, John. Everybody else, why are you all so weird? Right, maybe you're all here for AMC. Is that what it is? Well, get to it. 30 minutes. You've got your second low here. You've got obviously like an increasing trend on the Fibonacci. And I've said that word too many times now. On your RSI, you have, well, the relative strength index indicates that the relative strength is increasing while the price action happened to be slowing down in downtrend, which is now turned around, and you can see representation of that trend in terms of price action moving up. I'm going to get back up towards this bearish, bullish control zone. Tradespotting, have you been observing how much historical volatility percentile has been flashing? That's your bing bong shit. All these signals firing off with failed future rollovers. In my opinion, violent upside potential these 2 weeks. There is potential for that. Stefan, you were correct. You know, Dan pointed that out as well. He was looking at the historical volatility percentile. It's good on 4 hour there. Bing bong, there it is. Who's that? Where is that? Hot fire with the 420. Yeah, beauty. See how that also has this particular coin? That 420 that falls into the jar is hilarious, very much so. As they say in España. As it's like doing its firing off barcode, and this it never rarely does this like it's fucking awesome. It's getting smaller and smaller and tighter, and it's having lower lows. It's putting in an increasingly tighter formation. This is gonna fucking explode. You know, there is never with the HVP. There's never any guarantee whatsoever about the direction of the move. Right? It has no bearing whatsoever with regards to direction. It doesn't. But fucking hell, it's gonna, like, that indicator's gonna go mad. It's gonna go mad. Like, mad. And I don't even mean mad like it did back here. The indicator went mad for ages here. Like, it's just gonna redline for ages. What time did it do it there from the 14th of January to the 2nd of March? Fuck, on a whole quarter of that. It's going to do that again. It's going to be mental. Loads of shit could happen within that, eh? So there's also other news coming out, like third quarter reports coming out from big companies over the next wee while. Our industry, we're talking about GME, we expect a general uplift in profit, you know, a good 25 to 35% across the board for the leading market companies in the consumer electronics. So we're looking for something positive for GME anyway. And if you're like a fundamental analyst, you'll be looking at the fact that this is by far the most profitable quarter for GME. Hello, everybody. Yeah, this is by far the most profitable quarter, this one that we're coming in for. Like, and we're already starting the Christmas period, and then you can look back through the earnings reports and see how that's fared for GME. It's always been the best. It's also when people will be able to finally get their hands on their PlayStations and whatnot, that sort of thing will be much more easily acquired. They're still obviously in fashion. Plenty of new games will be coming out, and at the same time, you're looking forward to things like the GTA 6, there's all the rumors about that. These sort of things are all definitely tied into GME. There's also the talk of the NFT dividend. And I don't know, right, how people, like, because the conversation cycles all the time, and I have to be responsible to the audience and the people who rely on me while building hype about true factual things, also like cover what are might be likely realities with regards to how cryptocurrency may be integrated into a proper strategy for GME. And I can't say I know any better than you, and I certainly wouldn't claim to know anyone better than anyone currently working at GameStop. Though I can tell you that I'd understand it from how the bank would look at it and how myself as an entrepreneur would think about it. And I can also tell you that I know how people feel. And like, if you're one of those people, I know how people feel about games and about acquiring games. And I don't claim that there is something magical about the experience of visiting a GameStop, right? I don't claim that. But I'll tell you that the idea that you're going to sit here, I'm going to sit here, and I'm now to a degree technically proficient, though you wouldn't necessarily expect that from watching the difficulties I experience on this stream. I do not want to install another client to download games. I don't want to do that ever again. In fact, I'm looking forward to removing the too many I've already got. Right? There's a problem in that market. There's a huge problem in that marketplace, which was nascent, new, grew, loads of hype. It's managed to generate decent revenue and they've got good ideas, but there's also so many teething problems now with the distribution angle. You've seen everything that's happened with the App Store with Macintosh recently. You can see that also, if you were to look into the most recent report from GameStop, you'll see how it was delivered in a very specific way. And there was so very obvious the reasons why it was constructed as such. And that was partly to deliver what was true, the information that needed to be told to all the people who wanted to hear about these specific facts and figures and how you present the accounts. And it was responsible presentation of the accounts in the company. And I think it was really quite positive. And they talked about how, among other things, in the report, you could see that they had again referenced that they find the second-hand retail market of computer games to be existentially important to GME, so far as that it would form the biggest threat to GME in a SWOT analysis. And if you were to put that on and say, well, what companies would be like the manifestation, the embodiment of these threats, who would that be? And you'd think, well, likely it would be things like Fortnite and Steam. It would be the idea that Amazon are trying to build out this secondary gaming marketplace. Like, fuck off, Amazon. Fuck off. And then that other companies will want to get involved in that digital sphere. And you think to yourself, but I cannot be arsed with that, right? There is so much overlap. There is so much flatter to deceive technology. And there's so much vested interest in so many of these platforms that it's distributed, fragmented, and got a very inefficient value chain. And if you let me at it with a couple of $1 million, I'd kick the living fucking shit out of it and make fuckloads of money for everybody who backed me. And I expect Ryan Cohen's thinking the same. But he's understood that the next Steam is a fucking waste of money and a stupid idea. You have to somehow guarantee that you can facilitate the exchange of real games between people those games hold their underlying value and there be a history of that value and the transactions, which is perfect for cryptocurrency. And I personally think that there will be a cryptocurrency integration with GameStop, because if I was running GameStop, I would do it, and I do it like that, and it would be with representation regards to the secondary game market. I can't give two flying fucks about this idea of an NFT dividend. I don't think Ryan Cohen is going to do a singular business strategy with one objective, and that to be to fuck the hedges, when they are the ones who fucked themselves. It wasn't Ryan Cohen. He started buying GameStop after I had already started buying GameStop. He isn't doing it with I'm going to fuck the hedges. No, he's buying GameStop to make GameStop one of the biggest companies in the world, which is the same reason why I'm investing in it. And so you'll understand why somebody who's sensible, who's serious, who's got experience, who's started businesses before, who's worked for large banks, who's sitting here predicting price action day after day, week after week, month after month, who knows how to file all the different reports, who understands the overall picture and the overall marketplace, would say, I can't be bothered with nonsense hype about NFTs. I can't be bothered with it, right? I can't be bothered with it because I know what NFTs are. I've traded NFTs, own NFTs, have worked with other people who've made NFTs, and I've got a range of NFTs coming out for fucking doomslayers. I know that saying buzzwords isn't going to change the world. Putting 8 of them together and stringing a narrative on it isn't going to be what Ryan Cohen invests his $1 billion that he's just raised off shareholders for, because he's not silly. It's going to be about turning GameStop into the biggest company in the world, and that's with real business. That's by turning a profit, by driving a profitable strategy. It's by getting a good company that returns value for its shareholders by exploiting those areas where there is value, and by delivering value to all of its stakeholders, including its customers. And with the relationship that GameStop's got with its customers, us, it's not going to fuck that up with some trivial, nonsense, silly idea that it's trying to kill some fucking hedge fund. No, that's our job by buying it. We are the doomslayers. Ryan Cohen's job is to run GameStop, okay? Right? He doesn't walk around with a huge, massive fuck-off sword for that purpose. He keeps that in his computer share account so that we can walk around with our shares, right? With our license to carry, and that so that everyone will know we're the doomslayers, and everyone will know that he is the guy that provides value for his shareholders. And on that front, I think there's lots of things he could or should be doing. If he isn't doing them, then he could be tweeting about them. If he isn't tweeting about them, why not? Because you could drive more true hype, and then I could get behind it and boost it shitloads. Like we could, right? Anyway, though, I can't make a claim to be on the board or ask for Ryan Cohen's attention. Though, like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think should happen. Why am I talking about that? Because I saw someone said NFT dividends. Yeah, sure, there might be an NFT dividend, right? And I think that would be fucking amazing. It would be hilarious. It would absolutely destroy the other people on the other side of the trade. It would right all the wrongs in the many of the wrongs in the world in approximately 36 to 400 hours. It would right many of the world's wrongs. I'd be 100% behind it. But there are slightly longer ways around doing it that don't necessarily mean an NFT dividend, which would cause shitloads of fucking problems if that thing came out tomorrow like that. Whereas, there is also the idea that nobody's to cut GameStop in particular has dispelled the idea that there will be something in that area, and have been working on the idea of a GameStop marketplace, some sort of digital marketplace. Maybe it is that there's gradual, incremental bits of news that lead us to a realistic business proposition for GameStop with regards to that marketplace and how it's going to work. I think that that's likely that happens. And, nobody wants to fuck the banks like I do. But at the same time, I don't think that GameStop are going to go out of their way to do, because otherwise they could have rebranded the company to do the Doomslayers, right? And you could have gone in there, every GameStop shop, and they could have just like sold you shit loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff that had zero production cost to them, zero overhead that you didn't want, that they could immediately give back to them and recycle for more and more, and they could just we'll just fuck the banks, you know, open a shop called that, and that they would have been able to close loads of locations, right? They would have had queues around the fucking block. But they also want to make it so that the company lasts for years and years and years, and that you can pass your shares when you sell them onto other people who will also be able to get value from them. So it's like ethical business and like building value for people, and then building careers for people, and then being responsible. Because I can tell you another thing that comes from being an entrepreneur, right? It isn't that you want to own a headquarters on a nice street, or you want to buy the company that you worked in when you were growing up, or you know, or that you want to be able to tell people what to do. And it also isn't so that you don't have a boss, because that's not true. You're always responsible to someone. And if you're at the top of the tree, you're responsible to everybody. It's because you want to be the kind of person who can help other people pay their mortgages, put their kids through school, and improve the quality of their life. And, you know, that isn't something you necessarily set up running and have a legacy of for 100 or 400 years or 1,000 years by doing one thing. You have to build value, you know, and like, so like, I find that like there's like that's the totality of my feelings with regards to the digital dividend that may or may not come from GME, which itself is completely irrelevant to the charts, which themselves say that price action's going to test $343, and when you get a weekly open close open from there onwards, it could go to 2,450 in days. You know, that's got fuck all to do with MOAS. It has, really. It's got fuck all to do with it. I mean, you could have never mentioned the word to me before, or anything to do with Roaring Kitty or short interest. I still look at this chart and say, it looks like it's going to $343. It looks like it's in an incredible uptrend. It looks like it started one parabolic move, paused, and it's about to do another. Potentially, you know, well, people will look back on this and say it did too. Others might look at it on a weekly time frame and say there was no retrace, it was one parabolic move. You know, they might put it on a monthly and say, this thing changed the world. There's where it started. It looked like it was over in an instant. And the only people who knew that, you know, that it wasn't is you and me, who lived through it. And I did fucking years, took years off my fucking life already. So there's that. Anyway, so now we have managed to, we've reduced that. So there's only 20 odd people watching who haven't lit like, apparently. And the other statistics say you still think that this is so bad that you might have to check yourself into the emergency room. Right, so now, having spoke all about GME for whatever that is there, an hour, here's AMC. And when you're on that monthly time frame, this also looks like not much has changed other than it started going up, and it's still going up. Drop back down to the weekly time frame, and there's more of that on the go. Get rid of these pictures. You can see that when these moves up, it has a number of retracements down, tests support at those levels, bounces up again, and there's shit all resistance, like, which is very unlikely you would have. When you break a horizontal such as this one, you wouldn't have much until these levels, which was where price action is returned to, right? Testing support, having broken through resistance, then it confirms it as support. And here you are on the weekly time frame, doing completely and utterly what I would describe as normal behavior for a stock that has previously done what this stock has done. It's totally normal, right? It's now not only that, but the concept of testing resistance turn support on a weekly time frame is older than the language I'm speaking in, right? Holding an 18 period moving average on a weekly time frame, fantastic, right? Fantastic. Likely if I flip that to 8, you'll see that it's just that it's previous. Like, I will do that anyway, just because we're here, and we'll go to the daily next with it on it. So we're just trapped below this 8-period moving average. That 8-period moving average on any time frame at all, if you're above it, it's so bullish, right? It's so very, very bullish. And if you're above it for a long period of time, that's very, 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 very bullish. You combine that with things like 3 opening closes on the top Bollinger Band. It's fucking crazy how bullish that is. Well, Rick, I'm such a fanny. Oh, are you? I just can't imagine that to be true. Anyway, you've gone through. What else can you see on the weekly time frame? You had this cross. The 50 went through the 200. You didn't test it, but price action was so fucking far up above it when that happened that, well, price action sort of mostly stalled. You know, as it happened, really, it was here. Whereas where price action there is, that's the 40 odd bucks and change. Really. It was also where your 8-period moving average was on that weekly time frame. That's when you had the cross price action. It's been like not either. It's the equidistant either side of that since. And maybe that this thing does go on for a period of consolidation for a little period longer until such times as it's got some stronger test of the 50, which might mean, when I say go on longer, that it doesn't drop and that the 50 then ends up making its way up here, which is likely going to happen. You know, when these like this is a 50 period, right? So on the weekly time frame, that's nearly a year. You're talking that this moving average is using weeks from to calculate its trajectory, and you start losing the ones back last year when price action was, what was it, $6 in that. They're all going to start falling off soon. At which point, your moving average is going to keep increasing, right? Just even no matter what price action does, unless it drops back below $6, the average will pick up. What is that? A chart for ants? Oh, D. Thanks, D. Summer Day, welcome to Chimp. Summer Day, you were already a chimp, weren't you? What's going on? What is going on? What's going on, fellas? Fellas, what's going on? Fellas. Shut up, Jimmy. We're supposed to be serious. I nearly managed to offer. No, I did. I'm still going. It's Monday. I'm serious as fuck out here. Right, so your weekly time frame. You talked about your moving averages. You got this cross. We talked about that. You got your 50. Do you test it likely over a period of time? Consolidation, whatnot. Great. Yay. That's cool. Yay. See, well, here's your negative cross, right? And you came through the 50. It took you, how long did that take you? Right? 3rd of April 17 to the April. There's a year of it, right? It took you a year to test the 50 period moving average. I'm saying it might take you a year, right, to test the 50 period moving average. From where you went through here, right? From the time you went through it. 25th January. That's a couple of months away. If you're anywhere around here at the time, the fucking 50 period average will move its way up there anyway, right? So maybe there's a couple of months on this. Maybe it's like not as long as that, but you know, like you're just trying to draw out a window of opportunity. Tradespotting. Yeah, Fanny, I was driving. Here's your like. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah, sweet. Man. Oh, brilliant. I got a like. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's so good. Oh, thanks. Thanks very much. Oh, brilliant. Beef a la beef. Beef a la beef a la beef. Thanks very much. It's appreciated. If anyone else wants to hit me with one of those likes, it would feel equally as good. Right, so you've got to cover this. No, I was serious. Right, so yeah, I am serious. Pardon me. As you can see, historical volatility percentile doesn't give you much information on a weekly time frame. Your RSI says you're in a period of, consolidation, perhaps, when you look at price action. Yes, that is true. You're above the center line. You're below your own exponential moving average, and you've tested the bullish control zone and been rejected from it on this move here, which was a lower high on price action and a lower low. No lower low yet, but this was like a subsequent through a retrace after an extension, a very strong move, right? So that retrace forms your next high or low for the purposes of identifying where this forms the previous high or low for the purposes of identifying what this might be. So you use this as a low, and at that point you say if price action turns around here, it would be a high or low, and we're on the weekly time frame, so I'm not going to start drawing that out and try to spot tiny little stuff that I'll get to in a minute, dropping down time frames anyway. That I can say that you've had pushed further on your momentum to the downside, though price action hasn't gone as far should you go back up again. And in the context of an uptrend, that's good news. That they put in extra work to turn it down and it doesn't work. That'll be good news. You would want to see more stuff on the top side then, but at least tests afterwards to get anywhere. You can see what else here. You've been above the center line on the weekly time frame since that time we went through that 50 period moving average. At the same point that happened, here you're going through it, you've been above the center line RSI the whole time, which is very positive, right? Suggests strength hasn't dropped out of this for any big periods of time, at least anyway. Here, free day, you don't necessarily need to see that same, right? You don't necessarily, right? You're definitely not going to. Oh shit, it's still a chart for ants. Sorry, D. Come on, D. Jamie, D. D told you. D told you, and not only that, but you've not got the whole chart on, so people are missing that. Oh my goodness. Silly Billy Jimmy. Silly Billy Jimmy. Right, so do that now, so don't make that mistake again. Right, that's much better. And my cup of tea still is now even colder. Yummy. So your 50 period moving average, right? I'm not going to start again, right? You're above the center line on the RSI on the weekly time frame. You're holding these top moving averages, and you've put in really good formations and whatnot. Everything looks lovely on AMC. Thanks very much, D, for getting me out of that terrible hole I would have stayed in forever. You say you're, but Jamie, you're below the center line on the 3D on the RSI. You're below it. You know, oh my God, Jamie, call the 911, Jamie. And I say, no, it's okay. You're also below it on the 2D, right? You're not only that, but you've fallen below it once. Come back up in a negative signature by testing the bullish control zone, getting rejected, and immediately breaking through the center line and being below your own moving average. I'd say that, look, you want to call it an ambulance. It's too late. It's too late. Daily time frame, you're now looking for the downtrend that you saw on that RSI on the bigger time frames. You're thinking maybe that's turned around, because you can see here you've tested this bearish control zone 1, 2, 3 times. At this point, that was like on your weekly testing the center line of the RSI. On the 3-day, it was testing just below the center line. Here we are on the daily, and you're talking about, well, maybe it's not a downtrend. Maybe it's in the process of recovering, because at this point you had a lower low on the RSI, a higher high on the price action. That's bullish divergence. Prices came up and put in that test of the high. At that point, it was a horizontal that tipped you back down. It wasn't the highest one, but that's okay, because you weren't expecting it to be, because your RSI didn't get back to the highest area, right? So there was that, and what we call that is there was no divergence, right? Because you expected that, okay? So here you are, and it was a horizontal, and it's no problem. And Rocky and I both told everybody when it was here, it was going here, and you remember that. High five. And if you were sending me stupid messages in my inbox all the way through here about how it was never, I was fucking wrong, and now you look like an idiot, especially because you stopped sending me messages and you were wrong the whole time. And then I said it's a buy, and you were probably wrong yourself. You probably paper handed out at the bottom, you little bitch, sending me messages, being a little yap, going annoying people on the internet because you've got no life. Anyway, so price action here, AMC, looks really positive, especially when you consider that story with the RSI. To do multi-time frame analysis, just looking at this one indicator, that's quite handy, right? Because you can see quite clearly the formation is putting in here. Previously looked like it might be some sort of head and shoulders and whatnot, and like still got that on the cards, that idea that there is potentially that happening, but that would mean that you'd need some sort of right shoulder coming in here, and which would suggest higher prices. And at that point, you'd be able to define how things were going. Do you cover here above the RSI on the center line, which it hasn't done since price action dropped out of this really, really bullish area here right next to your all-time highs, like your own, like body close. This is $61 sort of shit, pardon me, sort of area. And so since you dropped below that zone, RSI is constantly below the center line, apart from that time it poked its head back up again. Pardon me. What was I thinking there? Right, so yeah, you're below this, you want to poke it above it. It does look head and shoulders potentially, but you know, it's like, no, not necessarily, right? It's not classic. That's definitely not right. not on price action, which is where you really want to see it. What does that mean? Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Rah, 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 rah. Cool, man. Cool, man. Your 50 period moving average, you see on the daily time frame there, you're licking it. Yum, 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 yum. Tastes lovely. Bit salty. Let's move on to hors d'oeuvres. There's a second course. To soup at least, right? Up here at $50. That's what you're looking for AMC on this thing. And say it's not breaking market structure. You're talking about just, oh shit, I've already got it all drawn. Of course I have. Go away. So what you're saying is it'll just likely follow. I mean, there's so much going on here. Rocky's got this harmonic drawn on as well. Zoom. Let's just get rid of the indicator for a moment. And you can see not very much, right? I can see this huge, lovely picture in the background. And that's all you can see because that's the way your human brain works. You're not going to see anything I say from now on. That's the only thing you're going to see. So what's the point? Right. Hide that so you can't see it. And you're saying like between these highs, there's an obvious downward sloping diagonal line. We'd call that a supply area, right? A supply line. Hey, isn't that a problem? Napoleon, if only he'd understood this. Ha! Only joking. Not that we say if only. What that guy's little short arse French. He's got anyway, whatever. I like the idea of a meritocracy in some senses, but not the way it's administered by someone as short as him. So you've got your lower highs and you've got your obviously likely come in and test that as if you're putting in higher lows, right? It's not like inconceivable. I'm going to draw these drawings back on in a minute. No, I'm not. They'll come on in a minute. I'll have talked about all of them. They'll be self-explanatory. So price action, lower highs. If you can see this here, you've got this high here and you've got this high here, right? Where this purple crayon is doing its little imaginary circles, right? And then we've got this one low in price action. You can't call this a low because you haven't yet recovered above any areas like the 236 on this here to be able to say, or have you, right? We'll check that in a second. To be able to say this is a local low. Had you been able to do so, you'd be able to say it was higher than this low, and you say that's a higher low. Just as this, when it moved, retraced back, right back against this move, this was the low, this was the high, and it retraced down. Retraced as in, now so many people get this wrong, right? Retracement doesn't mean prices are going down. It and I've seen this on big channels, like with people who I could never possibly criticize because they're nice. And what would be the point? Because they've got a much bigger audience than me. And you know, really, I'm not trying to teach them. I'm trying to teach you. So who cares? But retracement doesn't mean prices are going down, right? That's just like honestly, you're going to have to not have an ass for a head if you want to be good at this. And a retracement is a retracement against the trend or against something, right? You can't retrace against nothing. That's stupid. You understand the word, right? It's not retracing against where Jim and Joe want the price to go to, right? And I say Jim, I'm Jim, right? I'm Jim. Nice to meet you. Hi Joe, how you doing? Right? It can't be where we would like, oh, this is a retracement against what I would most like to happen. That's not what retracement means, right? That's like, honestly, you might be like a scary wolf that lives in the woods, and you could freak people out if they knew that you had, instead of a head, 4 asses, and that you would attack them in the middle of the night, right? That's like some scary story or something there, right? It's like, oh shit, oh. But when it comes to trading, having an ass for a head, it's no use at all. Like really, it's no use. A retracement is a retracement against the previous move, right? So this was a low, this was a high, this moved down. That's a retracement against that previous move, isn't it? Right? This here's a high, that's a low. This move up, right? That was a retracement against that move there, wasn't it? Yeah, that retracement was when prices were going up. Amazing, and that's amazing, right? Amazing, okay? So if you previously had an ass for a head, you can consider that a decapitation. I'm not growing a new head for you, though. You have to do that yourself. Right, so what else might happen? Well, in that context of higher lows, lower highs, what are we looking to? Well, is this a higher low yet? It's not necessarily, right? Certainly not in any dramatic sense. So you'd want to be seeing more of that dramatic sense, either it going up more or it coming down. And let's see if this downtrend continues. At which point you say, maybe this is a downward sloping channel, right? even in that, you would say, well, that suggests to me that what you're talking about is a bull flag, because I know that it's not just some downward sloping channel in the middle of some consolidation at the nondescript price zone in the middle of a boring range. This is fucking way up here. Something that used to be just a few bucks is now 50, 60, 70 bucks regularly, will be again the next we will 50 bucks. And at the minute in the high 30s, you know, 10 plus times more than the fools would have you believe it's worth, looking at their fundamental analysis. And, you know, they are wrong, right? So here's your 8-period moving average. Below that on the daily time frame, you can't ask to be above the 8-period moving average all the time. When you are, it's very bullish. As you can see, you know, this is when price action as it's its most violently most violent incline is always when it's above this 8-period moving average, right? When it's above it, look at that, it's fucking crazy, right? And when it's below it, it's muted. When it's above it, very violent, muted, very violent, slow. Like when this thing goes down, it takes a while and it's boring, right? Muted, they call it muted because I'm being serious and it's Monday, but if it was a different day of the week, I'd call it something else, right? And then you got these, right, this is your 3 days outside your Bollinger Band as well. You're also above the 8-period moving average, very, very violent. It defines a very, very strong trend. If you're trading something that's above the 8-period moving average and you're relying on that as your friend, that's like, oh, no, I'm not going to use a crazy analogy, I'm being serious, right? So recover the 8-period moving average, things would be looking fantastic. You might be able to do that for a little bit of time and then drop back below it in these muted periods, which would then ultimately take you above the 50, which is what you'd like to see, because you're above the 50 simple period moving average on the daily time frame. You can say that's a very strong trend. You're currently above the 200. It is above the 50 itself is above that 200. That suggests that the shorter term time frame is in an even more stronger uptrend than the longer term time frame. And that's the daily technical analysis. That's like the technical analysis on the daily time frame. You look at that on the RSI and you can see at this edge, right edge of what was like formation we talked about on the weekly, the 3-day and the 2-day, still below the center line, perhaps capturing its own moving average here, weakening momentum to the downside. That's obvious now, potentially coming for a cross. And to see price action tapping off the bottom of a 50 as that happens is very bullish, right? That's quite obvious. You know, going back to that thing about not having an ass for a head. So here you've got this cross on the 4-hour time frame. You've got a negative cross of 50 coming below the 200. This would be a golden cross, but actually a golden cross only happens on the daily time frame. So this is a golden cross on the 4-hour, i.e. not a golden cross, just a golden cross on the 4-hour, or as you might, so it's not, it's a death cross. As you might say, a death, you might just say it's a negative cross. Regardless to whether it's positive or negative for price action, it itself is negative. To see the 50 below the 200 suggests that the shorter term time frame is now in a weaker trend than the longer term time frame, which might be ahead of a longer term trend change. And so you want to see that not happen. You want to see price action get back up and recover above that 50 and it itself be above the 200. And it's coming in at 42 bucks. There's a test likely of that area. Price action isn't at that, right? It's significantly far away from it at 37 and that up at 42, right? That is a significant enough percentage that you would expect it to make more of a move. The 55 exponential is not going to be considered a test. The price action will need to go up closer to that 50 or the 200. Obviously the 50 will be closer because it's a death cross and price action's below where it's coming in at. So the 50 will be the first one it hits. It being right on the 200 now, it might take a while to get there. It might see that that comes down, but there'll be some test of it. And when price action either responds by going above or below that 50, then you'll see what the result of that test is. Should you be above it, you'll have to then get to the 200. And at that point, you might say, is this the test or do we go on? That's why you need open, closes, opens, right? All above them, despite what bodies might be doing in between times, right? Like the Wicks, the body closes all need to be above on the open, close, and open again. Which would be right on open, close, open, but there might be gaps, and so pay attention. Anyway, so yes, what are we talking about? A little bit distracted. Yes, so AMC, the momentum here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that slightly picking up to the top side. We haven't put in a higher high. We want to see price action turn around though, from these lows that it's been putting in since the my birthday, really. Actually, this has been taking a bit of a dip. Having gone through the 200, tested it once, so that test of the cross coming in here, you would expect that price action would have perhaps moved down, and before then it hadn't. The fact that it's recovered is relatively interesting. You can see the reason for that on RSI is that covered its own moving average and then never dropped back into the bearish control zone again down here. That's very strong. Tested the center line once. It's above its own moving average nearly the whole time. Tested the low once, hit this high again here, retraced to nothing really, back goes on and test it again a few more times. Horizontal looking left will be broken at 39 and change, and it will be aiming at these higher time frames. We're on the 4 hour. I suppose I could put the drawings back on again now. And this is this downward sloping channel that we were talking about here. Price action fell out of the bottom of it for a while, but only to test that 200 period. That's a trend check on a 4 hour, which we later then dropped below this downward sloping supply line. The white one that goes through, as you can see, I don't know if you can see my cursor going through it there. That's dictated top side of price action since it's put in the all-time high. And so you'll expect there to be some area of interest for regards to liquidity at these zones when you catch it again. Say that happens in and around October, the what? What would be that? Let's see. Well, we'll not say when that happens yet. We'll get to that later. Anyway, so you've got like various things. Why have I got these measured moves on the go here? This one is of this, if it's oh yeah, if this was price action, well, it's a triangle, but it's not necessarily like that. It's more of a picture of this here, with like this lower low on price action, but with that being bullishly divergent on your RSI. It's similar here, especially on the right hand side of that. So I wouldn't really give it this triangle thing. It's an inverted head and shoulders, that's what it is, and that's what that measured move will be. Take that down here, yeah. So that's your head, that's your neckline. This is this, how I would draw head and shoulders, is just with one line across the neckline like that. And none of the other information is important other than the divergences. So you'd want to be breaking this neckline as time evolves. It can go slightly lower, slightly lower. There's your 236 there, and you are above the 236 on this most recent Fibonacci for AMC, which is very bullish. You can see that 236 comes in there at 3703, another drop down a wee bit more at 3703, below it again. You know, these are like areas where you'll likely get bargains for the end of the day or later on when you like shed that and make your position, overall position management, make your position better, taking lower entries, whatever. Like Wicks below 236s with body closes back above them again. This is just very bullish. It's very obvious. And then that coming in with higher highs on this RSI again, or it trying to turn around and like not being able to do so, holding its own moving average when price action dropped, means that then when it goes up again, price action's got so long, like a bigger range to go through, it'd be very positive for it. You can tell that that's very bullish, despite that it comes at the end of this downtrend. But like we say, at the end of it, it does definitely seem to be 382 held you there on your body closed after that 0.5 retracement, pushed you back down. Your 236 holding on the body, that's fine. Your wick coming in horizontal left, like low 4 hour, that's fine. Because I said before, your momentum's building, you've got your RSI building up, its whole moving average, aims captures that center line, does that as price action goes through the 0.5, excellent. You're aiming for the 200 period moving average. You'll get a test of this cross and prices will be back up at $40. Do I expect that to be a negative cross? No, not really. I expect it to work out quite positively. And this to take you through either the harmonic that Rocky talks about here with the D pointing up at $85, or at least come up and test this B zone in there around $50. And that would be looking left, it would be testing this high itself, a lower high than here, but you put in a higher low on the C point because you're above the 236 on that thing. If we took this other, like there's loads of Fibonacci's on here at the minute already, and it does look very neat. And if I go back through it myself, I would rather have those on it, but I'll just drop this on here and say that drop down from your high to your low here. Here's your, there you go. You've got all your Fibonacci's. That's that big wide one slipping across it there. And your price action when it's above 35.82 is above the 236. It's very, 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 very fucking positive. Like this is where you want it to go up that direction. Be above the 236 and continue. This is a low. You can say then that it's a local low. You can say that it's a higher low, and you can look to test your higher highs now. Try and test your most recent high anyway, and that's the B point here at $50 and change. It's also your 618 golden pocket retrace where you'd like to go to. If you see really strong tests of a 236, you'll likely then move to 618. It's freaking obvious, eh? That's what AMC is going to do. Down to 30 minutes there. Now, what were we on? Is that the hourly? Did I cover the hourly? RSI, bonus moving average, period of flux here. You want to see price action recover. This isn't strong right at the minute. You need to see something to push it up. On hourly, it's not got a downtrend really strongly, and nothing on the indicators has possible turning around. You need to see it hold horizontals and then put in a bit of strength. If that captures its own center line on the hourly, very positive. 30 minutes. Let me just double check this here. Below the 200, you've had a negative cross here. That was a sell signal. You also went through your RSI. That was a sell signal, and you'd hit that 200 just before here. That was a sell signal. Plus, it was a higher high on prices, and it was divergent. That was a sell signal. Likely pushes it, tries to push it back down then. In that sense, unless you capture this 200 period moving average, and that would mean tomorrow or the next day opening and closing above $38 and change, it may push it down again to 35 bucks. Right, 36 and change, 35 bucks. Might try and do that. Maybe that was where as far as you were getting with that divergence earlier on today when it dropped back down again to 36 and change, which I thought was there very briefly, and maybe it goes there again, but maybe that was the full extent of the test you get, considering your RSI field and your DAC-D gave you a sell signal. So maybe another test lower, but I wouldn't necessarily mind. Wouldn't think it would be contrary to all likely possibilities if it just kept going here. You know, that divergence we talk about on that hourly time frame at 30 minutes. On the hourly, it's not divergent, really, not like, no, it isn't. And then there's nothing to see on the 4 hours, and that's significant. 15 minutes there, it's recovering maybe this bullish control zone. Yeah, it's tested these things and it's below the 200, but so what, you know, that doesn't mean much in 15 minutes. Maybe it is on the way to recovery. You'd expect there to be a tiny touch of divergence on a couple of time frames if you were putting in a trend change, and that's what this is doing from its most recent trend. So 5 minutes there, you'd see like this recovery started. Perhaps that's what it is, right? Perhaps that's what it's done on its own moving average in the center line. It's just after days like this, you want to see tomorrow's open, because when I say days like this, it's like it went up 0.16 when GME went up 3.14. And their highs up at 38. I think that's like not as impressive as seeing GME having pushed up to 188.40, and that with AMC having that much less to go, like a much less distance to travel, it having not moved as much there. For me, it means I'm asking questions of it, which likely it responds positively to those questions. It's just how far does it go in the top side after that. And anyway, so that's the AMC TA. You combine that with what Rocky Outcrop's been saying. You've got a great picture with regards to trading that over the next wee while, and I hope it's helpful to somebody. 214 concurrent viewers, loads of likes, that's really appreciated. Thanks everybody. The time is 22:22, so we did about 30 minutes AMC and about an hour GME. Covered the time frames, weekly, monthly, weekly, 3-day, 2-day, all that down on most of them, most of the big time frames, most of the things. And I answered hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions in chat. It was amazing. So great. Thanks so much for everybody who tuned in. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed the time with you. And I think we covered most things. I didn't see many questions coming up or alerts or anything, so did I miss anything? Sarah said, shout out to my buddy Mike. Ha! When it's too busy playing Pokemon Go and sharing memes to learn how to trade. Well, sharing memes is a very important job for anyone to do, you know. You gotta respect the meme sharers. All hail the meme sharers, for they entertain us when we is super bored. Shut up, Brave Browser, you're such a yap. Thanks very much, Sarah. That was a big donation to say shout out to your friend, Mike. Mike, why are you always playing Pokemon Go? How many have you not caught them all already? We don't understand though. We gotta catch them all. I do know what you mean. D, 12 free Fiber chat. What is that? Chat for answer. That was D. That was very generous of you, D. $12.30 free. We get it read out in the American exchange rate there for you and everything. What a treat for both of us. The Ghost of Dan. Brian Sprague subscribed to my channel. Thanks, Brian. The Ghost of Dan, $4.99. Keeping me in porridge. Dan. Chris Sweeney sent 1614. Oh, thank goodness, Chris Sweeney. Did I say? Cheers. I kicked off an AI bot a few hours ago, and the frickin' bot is shorting Bitcoin on the hourly. Don't think I didn't enable leverage. Shit, what? Kicked off a bot, an AI bot a few hours ago, and he's now freaking shorting the Bitcoin. See, this is the problem, Chris. Did you make one for GME back in around the tail end of autumn last year? Was that what you were doing AI bots? Because that could be what happened, Chris. You never know. 614. Bum, 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 bum. Said my Machiavellian AI bot. It longs on the way up and it shorts on the way down. Aye, well, that's very contrarian. You see, this is what a lot of Bitcoin investors do too, because they themselves are attracted to such a very contrarian asset and then forget all the other market participants are just like them and start trying to double think it. So maybe that's what your bot has caught the Bitcoin bad trading bug. It might be. Jamie is the coolest person on the internet. Thanks very much, Aaron. That's appreciated. There are other cool people on the internet too. There are, apparently, being told by people I respect have told me there are other cool people on the internet. I know one of them, though I'm related to him so heavily, shares so many of his genes with Rocky Outcrop, then that's maybe predictable. But out with that, yeah, where's the other cool people? There's some somewhere. They only joking. There's loads of them. They talk about GME as well, some of them. Vice versa. It's vice versa. Vice versa. Vice versa. Remember those vice versa sweets? Well, that's what they were called, was it? Were they called vice versa? That was a crap idea, wasn't it? Vice versa. Also, your bot seems like it's got some crap ideas. You want to do the other thing? Just one, can you tell us what you like more, Bollinger Bands or Donchian channels, and why? I use them for different things, Stefan. I use them for different things. I use the Bollinger Bands for predicting likely retracements, and I use the Donchian channels for looking to support and resistance, so objectives, rather than once we reach those objectives where we might retrace or break out, so that sort of way. So it's like a combination. Though that being said, I do use Donchian channels when I'm trading breakouts. So all of them, all the time, slightly differently, slightly different purpose. I guess I'll have to explain it over time so you can see what I'm saying. Jamie, what do you think caused this push up today, Jamie? Bob, what I think caused the push up today was the TI I said on Friday. It's still really, really popular video. I put it out, the video there. It's also the same things I said in the video. You'll see it as I finish a can of lovely juice and today's TA and talked about what pushed the prices up. And I'd urge you to watch that video. It's only 20 minutes long. A big chunk of it's GME, a big chunk of it's AMC, so you can just tune in for the piece you want. But if you look at that TA, you will not fail to learn something. I know I say this, and then I look later and I see, did anyone watch that video? And I see it got 2 more clicks. And I'm like, well, one of those is me now. And that's like maybe the person I was speaking to at the time, but probably not. Though I suggest everyone should watch it. It only got 1.6 thousand views. And from having like 20,000 plus subscribers, YouTube thinks that means I'm crap, And it used to be just Busy Ape series were getting that, to the point that I was like, well, fuck, these are damaging the channel. Now it's everything. So somebody please watch those videos. Can you just watch the videos? They're good. And they're what you want to know about. So just watch them. Watch them. Watch them. And then watch them again. Why not? Why? What else could you be doing? What else would you rather do than watch old videos by DB? Because why are they not? But it's the over and over. Why am I saying this? Yeah, what did it push up today? Prices pushed up today. A combination of factors. It's the start of quarter freeze. Earnings reports from some big people coming out now. We expect an overall uplift in this industry about 20 to 30% over the next quarter. We're going to see that projected, like from some positive earnings coming through, and money tries to go somewhere, and nearly everywhere else at the minute, there's a lot of dodginess, and people still anticipate the potential for GME to have a negative beta and for that to be very positive, which, this is a thing too. People sent me messages like saying, see, you're wrong, GME hasn't got a negative beta, and that. It's like, How long have you been waiting to send me this message? Like, because as long as you've been waiting to send me, in a couple of breaths, it will be back to negative bit again. Then you look stupid. So, honestly, I advise people not to send me stupid messages on the internet. It's all well and good when I can take the piss out of you later, but at the time it annoys me. Don't bother doing it. I will make you look stupid. Tradespotting, they're all in the chat, dog. Who's all in the chat? We is all in the chat now. Everyone is, all the main folks. 184 people. Okay, so everyone's tuned out. It was we had twice as many viewers at 1 second today. It was a brilliant. Agreed. Trade solutions, the catalyst. Trade slushings in disguise. Instead of burying your leftover porridge. What? Wait, what do you mean instead of? Excuse me, this is already blasphemous, Corey. Have you ever tried dehydrating it to powder form and keeping it bottle of it? Mate, what sort of porridge do you think I eat? Dehydrating it. I make it in a drawer. And it makes itself. It's like I'm so poor. When my porridge is mixed with liquid, it's an endothermic reaction. Happens in a drawer. That liquid disappears, and that is dry ass porridge. I have it in bricks. I eat it in bricks, the same way you eat sandwiches. I eat porridge, not in bowls with milk and that. I only just put it as that so you can see it in the jar as a bowl of porridge, so you at home can understand what it is. But for me, porridge isn't that luxurious delicacy that the sustenance that you get from it, along with all of that. That I hate it when my wife's boyfriend calls me a negative bell. I hate it too. Isn't it so annoying when your wife's boyfriend says nasty things? It's awful. I hate it. He's always doing it too. Plus, he constantly beats me at Sabutio. It's so annoying. And then he breaks all my little players up and throws them in the toilet. It's so freaking annoying. Fermented porridge. Corey, I don't know where you're getting this luxurious 5-star porridge from, but I'd like to hear about it. We make ours in drawers. I eat concrete for breakfast. My porridge is upscale muesli. Upscale muesli. There's no such thing. Muesli. There's no such thing. I think muesli weighs more than anything. Costs more than anything else per gram, right? Isn't it the most expensive thing in the world? Muesli. Funny owning a million of something. You talking about Shibu coin again, Dink? Katie babes, you look so different in this camera, Tradespotting. It's my lighting mostly, and then this camera, and I see the lighting changes, and I change so much looking at that. I'm like, whoa, there's a different silhouette. Look though, that something looks like it's going like that on my t-shirt. What is that? Is it the microphone? Yes, it is. The right microphone. And then, yes, the other camera. So we've done all that. So back to the other camera. Hey, there's the other camera. You're over there. Thanks, camera. I keep going to drink this because I'd love to drink this, but I'd hate to drink it too because I know that it's cold. The ghost of Dan, stop being negative and eat your porridge. Yeah. Well, we take it down the main west, don't we? We can't eat it now, Dan. Then I'll have nothing for lunch tomorrow. Jimmy, can you look at my PROG, my lord? Hot for you. What you like? You get to make you look at something. You chuck in just a fiver, so I have to, but it's just a fiver, right? Okay, here we go. PROG, P-R-O-G. If it's not on my charts, this is me looking at something for the very first time. For a fiver. This is a life. And it's worth it because hot fee is cool. Where are you going there, Jamie? You're looking for the alphabeticalized. I've alphabeticalized them. You'll be glad to hear, Americans. I've alphabeticalized them. And we're looking for the P's. Jamie, you don't have it, Jamie. Okay. But I'm pretty sure I've looked at this before, though. This is weird. Okay, PROG. Here goes PROG. Wow, I could really do with a drink. Progenity Inc. Okay, I haven't added it. Why have I not? Okay, have we got drawings on it? No. You're above your 8-period moving average. Well, that's what we call a fuck-off uptrend. You're on 5-minute time frame, though, so that doesn't mean anything. Daily time frame. Whoa, look at that, by the way. Fuck. Nice work for people who are trading this. If you've got any of this already, nice work. Nice work, though. You are at your previous resistance, so a previous peak. So I would expect your previous peak to form resistance on some levels. You've got your 200 period moving average up at 340. I wouldn't expect it to go further than that because this has been a downtrend its entire life. Its entire life has only been around an hour and a half, right? It's a year and a half, but an hour and a half is all, like, it's not even a year and a half, it's a year and a few months. But an hour and a half is how long this thing's been around. And like, that's not even, you know, an hour and a half isn't even a full, like, what's that going to buy you, right? So how reliable is this? Not very. Your 200 period moving average has showed up, but only to laugh at you, only to laugh at how it's somewhere that you may never be again. And yeah, and essentially the health of this thing is terrible. So it's consistently in a downtrend. It's only ever put in lower highs. Not only has it only ever, but even I would say that normally I'd discount the first couple of weeks or months of something's lifetime if I was to say that. At this thing, you could even say that from the very day it was released. In fact, let's go down to the 4 hours and see like what happened right at the very first 4 hours. It went down and has never, ever got back there. And since it's constantly been down, there's gaps that it fills. Like there's a gap fill there. It's retrace, right? Whoa, dramatic retrace. It's the lower high. It's a piece of shit. And it was just a gap fill. It also hit the 200 and dropped. Then what? Gap fills. Gap fills. Gap fill. Gap fill. Is there a gap there that's not yet filled? Debatable, but no, it's not really. It's for gap fill. And then test the 200. Gap fill 200. Gap fill, test the 200. You know, it just so happens to be that the 200 is higher than the gap, right? So you've made it up to that 200, which you make it up to, which you made it up to, which you made it up to, which you made it up to. And the impetus for entering for a lot of people will have been the gap, but the signature of how this thing tends to go is to the 200 and then fail. So you on a 4 hour time frame, you want opens, closes, opens above that 200. Do I think you're going to get it? If you do, it'll come as a doji, and that'll be, people will take that to mean it's the end of that trend, right? Because like, why would it get here and then have so much indecision, right? If it was happy about having got here and part of the plan was to go up higher to like 395, then why would it have stopped for so long and put in a doji, which is what it may well do. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Then yeah, I expect that'll be in around there. 200 period moving average, 2.13. Have you seen the new Cassette Boy stuff? Shit, he's fucking amazing. Cassette Boy shit. Cassette Boy's hilarious AF. And like, I'm surprised he hasn't. I've got like 10 million subscribers. He's so good. Check out Cassette Boy, by the way, on YouTube. Fucking brilliant. Anyway, you'll love it no matter where you're from. You will love it, and no matter what your political affiliations are, you'll love it. Unless, of course, you're a Tory, in which case. So you're looking for this thing to recover 2.13, which is above at the minute, but hold it on long-term time frames. I say that because it's not going to happen, is it? Like, it's probably not going to happen. What's changed with this? Well, it had a lower low. It had a huge gap. It filled that gap. It came back up. It's only really at the breakdown levels here. Like, I've got to draw some actual TA on this thing and get off just one time frame. We'll go back to the daily. Yeah, it looks great. It is great, but the 200 is laughing at you. Do you get to the 200 on the daily time frame? Unlikely, right? Unlikely. 349 is unlikely. Here is the. So, I mean, I just have to go from the. I have got drawings on this fucking thing. Yes, yeah, beauty. Right, here we go. This is what I thought would happen when I looked at this thing. I thought we could short it, and. When was that? On a daily, and I haven't looked at this since back here, right? This will be, you asked me about it before me. And that trade turned out to be fucking fantastic, right? It was fantastic. If you followed it with a stop loss, congratulations. You got all the way from, right? This trade I've got drawn on here is like a 657 to 1 or something. No, it's not. It's a 4. What is it there? Come on, Jamie. What is it really? Get out of the way. It's only a 5 to 1 more or less, but it's still here. It's pretty freaking good. Look how good my lines are, by the way. You didn't need anything like that stop loss. That was just like, you know, the truth is like, you fucking nah, honey, that's like actually a 500 to 1. In fact, if you dropped it there, which I didn't, right, but that's even more, that's 2,000 to 1 trade. Anyway, point being, right, I'll undo all that, leave it as it was. The point being, you don't need to get greedy on the profit side of it either, right? Like the 236, there's a take profit zone. Here's your basis line of the Bollinger Bands. Is they on even? No, they're not, so it can't be. It's your 8-period moving average. You go, there you go. That your 55, you went through that, tested your 8, there's your 50 period, which you got to on a wick on a number of this, what's that one before it on daily? What does that mean? What is this, a chart for ants? Fuck, I'm back doing that again, I'm gonna. Thanks, guitar side. Yeah. Right, so I mean, I'm not going to just boast about my trading and whatnot. Anyway, it worked out because the prices dropped shitloads. They went from $2.26 down to $1.23 or something, right? So that was a pretty good trade there. Was that 50% or something? It was a pretty good trade. And then they've bounced back up again to that exact same place. So I expect this peak to be resistance, yeah. Funny how the TA I was doing with the drawings all off turns out to be the same as this TA. I would think I would have just come in along here, and then the next thing I would have been drawn on the overall Fibonacci, which is done here with these orange horizontals are the two defining parts of that probably. No, they're not. They're this Fibonacci's defining aspects, okay? And I would have drawn a short position on here and said, yeah, well, you know, potentially see this thing fucking drop down. We'll see what happens with it. But that was a good recovery compared to other times, I suppose, having come here and then gone back up again. And they are on the daily time frame, and that was a whole body. It wasn't just a wick and then pissing off again. That's very, very interesting that it was that. Back down 4 hours, your 200 period moving average. That's good that you went through it, but you did it wick before. You need to open and close open, right? So your next one's your open. You haven't had anything yet just because it is open above it. No, you need an open and then a close, as in that same candle has to close above that same area, and then the next candle has to open, so no gap, and it has to be over there, right? Whoops. You've had 1, 2, 3 positive candles, so that's like a very bullish move, and you may expect some test of your further up at your previous horizontal at 267, and that might be where price action goes. We'll move this over here because that trade's like not relevant no longer. There. So you're looking for this level here to be tested. If you get these 3 positive candles all in a row, go up to your next horizontal support. Is it here? No, there is a gap fill just above you. Tiniest of gaps up at 2.23. Mind you, price action after post market's at 2.26. So, plus had you got it before? It's not at 2.26, is it? How can it be that? Because it is 2.26, and aftermarket has taken it there. So the aftermarket post market price on this is 2.26, so it's already made that move. So we've closed that gap. In reality, that gap is closed, and then you're above your 200 period moving average, but your 4 hour open closes. It won't make a difference on the post market about the open and closes for the time frame. None of that'll matter, but your price will have got there, which is interesting. Gap will still be there. Rich sent me a photo. What does this mean? Is this bad news? No, it's great news. Right, so open above a 200 period measure. Jeez, I really need a drink. I'm going to stop the stream and go and have a drink. I'm going to have drinks so much. I'm going to drink so much. It's incredible. Can't believe how much I need a drink. I've needed a drink for what feels like 3 days. I remember a few days ago I needed a drink and I've forgotten about it. This is such a positive move. I've put that in. It's such 3, right? But it likely does have some sort of retracement now. It's bearishly divergent should it drop back below its own 236. That 236 coming in from this low to this high, you know, we've already drawn this on. It's the same Fibonacci I had on before. Same targets, more or less. Price action is at the same place, so there's no need for it. Here's your 236, you know, you want price action to stay above this level now, having broken below it once, having tested it above it again, and having that been, should it get back below it with bearish divergence on a second test, that's awful. Really, that forms like exactly what you need to see to the continuation of the previous trend before you hit the 200 period moving average, and this thing will go through the floor, and it will go to these levels, the 1272 or the 1414, or even worse, the 618. And I don't know how much of a piece of shit this is, but like it looks like it could go absolutely fuck all, in which case then you probably get a good trade off the back of that. Not on the down, but on the up afterwards. Far too risky to take this down. There's your 50 period moving average below the 5% retracement of this. It's already done that once and then skirted along it, went straight up again. Don't know about that. Question is, does it? I mean, it looks to me like it's going to try up here to that line, but you're at your previous resistance, and you're divergent, and you're at the top of the bearish control zone where you'd normally turn around from, and then your moving average is there just at the bottom of the bullish control zone, and you'd likely come down, test that, and test it. So the two have been at exactly the same place at the same time. It's like this signature here. Oh, it was further away at the time. Well, I mean, it's like here when you went through this. No, it's not like that. Anyway, you're likely going to test your own moving average, and you're going to test the bottom of this bullish control zone. You've put in, oh, not saying bullish formation there. On 4 hour, you've got those 3 white soldiers, and they suggest another test higher. But like for retrace, likely at the 236, 170 would be your entry, and then you'd be looking to take profit at 252. Above that, you'd be lucky to see it at 394 bucks and that whatnot, but I don't think it's going there. Not in the short term anyway. I think this is probably fucked, to be honest with you, and it looks like it's always been fucked, and so it's not me that's making that happen or talking about anything any different from the way it's always been, but it does look kind of fucked, despite the fact that it's putting in these positive moves at the minute. If that was because you took this short and you haven't taken any profits and now you're worried, you're back at your entry point. If it was because you're long, then this was a good place to enter, but this would be a place to exit. I would suggest, like, not for your trades, but for mine, because look, this was what I drew on it last time I was looking at it. And as I was saying, I was talking to you as if you were just that person, like, who had already taken that short. So who knows? Didn't get to the 618 at that point. You only got to the 0.5 and continued. It could be suggestive of a positive trend. So it's a very risky trade to take short in this now compared to what it was like before it made that retracement. Still looks crap though, and this looks crap. It's on the hourly where you're thinking, does it hold that bullish control zone without breaking below previous horizontal support, and is that at 169 or is that actually at 151? That's quite a big percentage move away from each other. Blub 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 blub. MF-MG-TLT, yo, naked is doing absolutely F all. Could we look, my lord? Could we look at it do nothing? Yeah, we can, man. So I think this will likely go up here and come back. Look at naked do F all. Hello, naked. Naked, naked, naked. You are the sort of thing that waits for news and then does stuff. It's up 2.86%. It's above this horizontal resistance. That was difficult for it to get beyond, so that's significant. The fact that it's done that and above is 15 on the hourly, 50 simple period moving in the hourly, that they came in for actual test, having gone through positive here, they retest each other there. No, it's great, positive, very positive move. Happened with price action, was right at it too, and was price action broke through the center line. That's very positive. You know, say you're doing nothing, but actually you're building positive momentum in the right place to make a move. This is very good. In the context of that downtrend, you'd be saying, oh, this looks like it is put in a higher, this is another higher low. Didn't even get back to your horizontals at 5,940 or whatever that, but what was that? We said that is around at 5,970, 7,980. Didn't get below this golden pocket, still above your previous Fibonacci's 50%. 382 as well, above that now. Oh, you're aiming for the 236 of this area. No, you're not really. You're aiming for horizontals within here, and then that's next levels at 7.5 and whatnot, and it'll go back there. And it'll keep doing these line things until it reaches this green line. Blown, 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 blown. Blown, blown. This green line? Nope, that green line is just... Yeah, it's horizontal. This is just me having drawn it on. Wow, that's a very straight line for me to have drawn. Impressive. Impressed myself there. Big ladle. A big ladle of price action. I got a little bit of price action. Please, sir, can I have some more price action? 236 up there. Ping pong. You're looking to get up there. That's that again. This is the range it's in. From 5.3 to 1.3. 1.3, but how can you say that, Jamie, when it stops at 7.6 so often? Yeah. That's the area it needs to break out of. This downward sloping horizontal. It's been in this Gamfibs and it's been falling down. It needs to break that incremental. It needs to get up here. It needs to start putting in positive moves to the top side, because this right hand side of price action, it's all accumulation. It's all like very positive. Every time it tries to, especially it tries to do things and like doesn't get them, goes on up above. See, when it tries to do something, anyone tries to drive it down, it doesn't get very far. And like even the slightest bit of news pushes us up, and as you can see, that green thing that was moving around, it's not actually a soup ladle, it's the right shoulder of an inverted head and shoulders. I know it seems like it's doing nothing, but really it's like putting in big signs on its oscillators. They're doing well, and that's like in the nature of price actions and at these horizontal resistances, which are really important. So it takes a while there, and once you break them, that's very significant. And that's all normal, right? Because you're in this downward sloping channel, right? It's a channel, maybe it's a wedge, right? But it's a channel more or less. Then you've got the measured move. If it was a wedge or it was like a triangle, takes you up to the 236 from your low to your high on this whole leg of price action. They better head and shoulders. By goodness, I need to drink of water. And then there's a number of measured moves off the back of that take you at different levels. This one is horizontal at 1892. That's your inverted head and shoulders for overall thing. And the measured move off is fucking stupid, right? It's over there. Takes you up to 3.8, which is so much. It's so much. It's also your horizontal support looking left. As you can see, look, this is all important. Diddly diddle ding. It's this Fibonacci's the full extension of your moves from your 3, but slightly higher than that. You go up to 5, maybe. Who knows? Get a bit extra. Yeah, but so that there's so many interesting reasons why price action likely does push up there. But to get there, it needs to do specific tests, not to when it's up there, right? That's for testing like other things. It's when it's here, it needs to prove itself. The horizontals between here and there aren't that important. George Luna was on the Ben Siga AH YouTube feed. How the frick do those clowns have 170 live viewers? Jimmy, you need to save those people from the shills too. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. Who's Bazinga AH? No idea who he is. 170 live viewers? Pretty good. Well done to him. Well done to that guy. Well done. Congratulations, that guy. No idea who he is. Thank you, Jorge Luna, for the positive information. It's really appreciated. But I've no idea who that chap is. But that's great that he's doing good. But it probably is right and probably better. Probably should be here. But how can I say? I don't know. Maybe he's a dead nice guy. Probably is, but I don't know anyone. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Who the fuck knows what I'm talking about? 4 hour naked, you're above the 50 period moving average itself, above the 200. It was hard fought for that. It really was. It's a very positive move off the back of it. Test it here, fine, no problem. Go on again. This is overall big move coming too on this thing. Much bigger move than you've seen recently. It's coming on this thing. Five vanilla finance. Vanilla finance. Is vanilla finance? Vanilla finance US 499. I know that means that you're not my neighbor with a similar name. So if you are, hello. And hello anyway. How's it going? F for vanilla. Oh, so what's that? So that's that. Do you guys think GME will still retrace to 170? Says Drew Lee. A number of people have been asking this question about the 170 retrace on the GMs. You don't really want to see it do that anymore, you know. Can do one more test down there, and I think around 175 is the area. I'm freaking tired. Did I cover it properly in tea? I hope I did cover it earlier, because I don't know. I can't do no more. I'm too tired and my head's too sore. I can't even find it on my list, and it's GME, which is dead obvious on my list. Where are you? Where is GME? I can't see it. I see Rolls Royce still doing that thing. Like, oh my goodness, Rolls Royce is still doing that thing. I don't know. Are we laughing now? I'm laughing. If you were here, I'd be hoping you were laughing, my fool. You need to request. We need a squats icon. I did like 30 squats earlier. Wow, fucking, did you see ticker bingo? Ticker, ticker bingo, ticker bingo, ticker, ticker bingo. Did you see it? It was fucking brilliant. I loved it. It's on Rockies earlier today. I fucking loved it. Also, pulled 2 balls out of the bingo blower. What did he get? 6 and 9. 69. So go back and watch that video. Scrap watching my earlier video. Scrap that. Watch Rocky's video from live today. It's fucking brilliant. Yo, what the fuck is happening, my brother? It's all about to kick HT in the face if it keeps getting people. Well, it's your friend. It's that Batman Pajama. I fucking love you. And he's been ill recently, so he has a legend that he is, Batman Pajama. That reminds me, Bulldog Buchanan, I saw your donations from the PayPal after the show, and I saw that I'd got something, but I didn't see it till afterwards, and I wanted to thank you. And I don't see you there in chat, so you're probably not getting this, but thanks. Batman Pajama, legend. IHT, what did we say here? People behind the beaches, get a kick in the face, get it drawn so I can see where price action is still here. I mean, it's higher lows, higher highs, perhaps putting in a turnaround. It's not captured its own moving average there on 4 hour. It's not as above the center line. You want to see it there. Has put in this retrace, doing shit. That's true. You're right. It's doing shit. 15-minute time frame, not too terrible yet. Perhaps catches a little bit of a breath. Need to push up though. Where would it likely take you to? 65 an RSI would probably take you around back to 16 bucks and change. And you see it stronger than that though. 30 bucks. In the 30 minutes, you're below the 200 period moving average, so that'll be like overhead resistance for a while. For a while, likely, until you break through it properly. We are putting through a trend change though. As you just finished it though. That's the question. Is RSI first touch the bearish control zone? At that point, you're below the 50, which is below the 200. You've had a test of that cross. So does it come in with a bullish divergence of 1332? And it was previously in here. You could say body closes. That was lower body close, but the RSI debatably also lower. Looking back further, potentially you would see some bullishness there. You asked the question, but only enough to go to your 200, which you would expect. Any more than that would bet. Who am I to ask for? Oh, there it looks like an S next to the box you type in. What box do you type in? Red Squirrel. Going by a previous 18 plus job, probably not, lol. What did he say? Pretty sure you did like 13 times, Tradespotting. What did I do? What did I say? 13 times. Do you drink orange juice? Do oranges grow anywhere in Europe, says Sarah. No, sorry, Sarah. Oranges don't grow in Europe. Shocking, isn't it? We import our oranges. Everyone in Europe imports their oranges. There's no such thing as a European orange. It's shocking, eh? We're so bereft without our oranges over here. It's why so many of us get scurvy, you know, and why we've got such problems. Vitamin C related issues over here in Europe. Sarah. Pretty sure I did 13 times. What, Katie Babes? What did I do 13 times? I don't have that dollars yet, and I'm a little temp basic member. What dollars yet? What dollars yet? Oh, there. What talking about? What dollars? You've got a lovely yellow headband that's kind of fashionable as hell. People see that and they're like, he is minted for that yellow headband. What do you mean you don't have enough dollars for what? You're doing brilliant. That's a very respectable sentence. That's very respectable. What do you mean? What's the conversation? The Poddington peas. You don't need dollars. What do you need dollars for? To get more dollars. That's why you need dollars, Jamie. To get more dollars. Corner the orange market. People have done it before. Banana Freeze. Rocky knows someone did that before. Anyway, right. So why am I still looking at this? AHT. Yes, because it's bad Mama Jamma, and because I like it, and because I have a little bit of it. I still have this. I do. I still have it. So you've got your 50. You've got your 200. Yes, you've got your tiny time frames. It means nothing. 30 minutes, they're all above the 50, below 200. There's hourly, that's when you're below. You're going to worry about that below the center period in RSI, but your momentum says, momentum says you've got a, oh, fuck's sake, it's only come up enough just to give you a sell signal, is it? Not really, it's a bad one. In fact, that's a bit of a trick, that one. Gets people, that catch them a lot that time. So maybe it doesn't work out. But also I say that though, it's not like it's trying to trick you. It's just not ideal and does often go on again. So we'll see, has to recover this 1456. Has to do that on an hourly and open, close, open again, or a 4 hour above Same. 4 hours the same. 12, no. Daily time frame, you need to get, and there wouldn't be anything crazy. You go your 55 after that. Then 27, turn on the drawings, see what they're saying with that. Yeah, similar situation. Cover these, aim for the 200, and that's not even talking about the gap fill, which would itself be a golden pocket up there. Come on, AHT! You're gonna get a kick it in the face by Bama Majama, and from what I've seen of the chap, you don't really want someone like him kicking you in the face. You really don't. AHT. Trading places, maybe? Ooh, we trade in places. Was good with oranges though. Oh, there, you don't have to send a super chat if you at Tradespotting. Yeah, you don't have to send a super chat, mate. Just say at Tradespotting. What is it? You don't need to. You remember too. Just tell me, and I'll be there. Elegy for Super Kashi. Super Kashi. Super Kashi. Super Kashi. Did we chop his head off? Super Kashi. Sorry, I'm tired. Cool, Corey's done some TA on AHT as well. That's good. I might look at that myself because I'm too tired to do my own. I taught Italians to grow oranges. Who taught them? You did. Have they? But well, why didn't they do it then, Barrett? They're just sitting on those skills. Decided they don't want to be orange growers anymore. Or maybe that was orange juice. They have some relation to each other. I'm sure you were all saved. It wouldn't let me post it. You were all saved. It wouldn't let me post it. Wow, that's unusual. Why couldn't you post it? I'm sure you could with gaps and stuff. You get away with it. I love me some orange juice. I want orange juice. Is this a trick? Can you tell me how bad UBX is? All right, that's a very, because you asked such a simple question, yeah. Well, I mean, you've looked at this before yourself, right? And you've seen what I say about things, right? There we go. Go all the way up to the monthly just to know, like, it tells you what it thinks. Terrible. Weekly, yeah, new low, potential cross coming in, nothing positive on your divergence. 3-day. Similarly terrible, bad. That's all bad. Then the 2-day, that's what was that? It's still terrible. Daily. I mean, see, it came in at your previous peak, well, trough in price action here. Wasn't support at all. Like, I mean, sure, even if there's this huge gap like this, this huge gap, which has been filled already, there's no need to trade for that. But even when it opened at the bottom, like at least it had enough respect to open before it went beyond previous support. This one didn't give a shit. I mean, it's had a little bit of a recovery, but it could go 189. I mean, and it could go, you know yourself, right? It could go to $1 and a fuck all, but it could go at 189. Looks like it is going to 189. It had this negative cross, which it's had plenty of before, all of which have been pretty bad for it. Pretty bad news with regard to price action. That's no different so far. Usually you turn around there by having put in some form of buy. What would that have been? This is like a 1272 extension of that. One four this time. Does it get all the way down there? 1414. What does that mean? Bigga ding dong, bigga bing bong. It looks pretty shit, mate. It's got a little bit of a recovery on the cards at the minute. I imagine down at the 1 day on our time frame, there's a turnaround there. You've got bullish divergence with the lower high on RSI, higher lower low on price action, higher low on RSI. The 50 simple period moving average above you there at $2.60. Likely overhead resistance. If you break through it, you'll get to 298. Getting above that's very unlikely. Never, ever does that. When it does do that, it goes up and puts us in. Like, it's only ever a positive move. Still think it's going to do that this time. No particular reason for it yet, that's for sure. nothing. Like, I mean, you can't, like, which high do you want to take it from to say that you've put in some sort of a low? Like, it's, you take it from right on here and then say, yeah, it's above the 236 and whatnot, and make sure, right, let's do that just because, and say, currently price action is 2.52, oops, 236. Oh my goodness. Comes in at 248, so you're above that, and then perhaps you could say in the context of this little bit of a move that's put in a low and looking between them, you can say, well, obviously that's like itself did it as well. So on 236, and this one itself is the one that's in the oversold, so you can compare them, and you'd say it's bullishly divergent. You've recovered at 236. Good. Does it go on up and aim for that 200 period moving average at 298? That's like what, as much as you could hope for and what I'd trade it for, and I'd need other signals at the time that you know, you kind of got one there actually, and that one kind of is, haven't gone through the center line. So yeah, I mean, this does push up. Maybe you're right, you know, and if you, I mean, maybe you're right to be in it, and your long takes you all the way up to another 25% on that. It might be possible, right? It might be possible. 20%, 18%, give it 18. In fact, I'd take it to the 786 and I'd say call it a 287. That's where I'd take profit myself. 287, but I fucking also I'd take profit at the daily, this horizontal looking left, and my golden pocket retrace. So I'd also look at that. So, you know, and then your 50 period moving average there. And I'd be wondering to myself why I was in this at all, because it's only been bullish on the 50-minute time frame, but everything else up to the monthly has been shit. So I'd be worried about it. Worried about it. Worried about it. I'd be worried about it. What else are we looking at? Let's check in with our friend Bitcoin, which we thought was doing quite well recently. And look what we say. It is doing quite well. Has it made it up to its resistance level yet? Well, that's not good enough. Let's go down to 4-hour time frame. Where's all the drawings gone? Same how they've all disappeared. Is that correct? They just all disappeared today. Oh, they're all here. Is this the right chart? Is this the right? Where's my big boxes that say support and resistance all have? Is it this one? Ah, here we are. Is it? Maybe, possibly 1272, 1414. So anyway, the full extension of this move now. Bitcoin's been fucking flying. Yeah, sure, it's bullishly divergent, but it touched down there, covered its own moving average and the bullish control zone. That's very positive. And it's like I say, you see some bearish divergence in these extreme up moves, like you saw it here as well. Did you? Yeah, you saw it there as well between these two highs. A retrace, touched the support on again. Here you did it again, touched the 50% on again, and new all-time highs again. At this point, you've seen enough of them that you'd expect some sort of a retrace. So when you look left, you can see you're above 786 of this previous drop down, getting up to the 886 would be 59 change. This is where we thought we might go to. It's doing well. It's also doing well in the face of the Bitcoin futures. They're doing very well. Again, like extending that contango, so they're now priced even higher than the difference between a current price of Bitcoin and a Bitcoin on a futures market. That difference, that premium has increased, which you would expect to see. And then the Bitcoin dominance, it did go for that full extension, nearly all the way up to the 236. It's really strong. Really strong, holding the 618. Does it get there? Horizontal resistance, and there you expect, so 47th level, I expect to see this top out. Look left, it's the 1618 from the previous move down there. Back there, your previous peak when you moved up, that sort of area likely tested again if it breaks this, but I don't know if it will. Don't expect it to. RSI is really strong, but again, bearishly divergent. Body close, body close, come back down below that previous resistance. That'd be interesting. This is a 4-hour time frame, and you've got another 2 left, and may well do that. If it doesn't, Bitcoin's going to go on and push up again and be even stronger. If it does it mean it's bad news? No, it's likely good news for Bitcoin and for the alt market, likely. What one's a very good thing to take from that? Well, obviously Ethereum itself is like similar move to Bitcoin, just lower percentages, like half as much as the difference. 1 inch big retrace down to the 2.9 change just below it that Rocky was talking about. So I've got those entries now. I was desperate to trade this during the week, so got bits of it and shifted them. And now probably at some point, if it gets to 2.6, then I'll be fully back in that position again, trading this was made my week last week. This and what else was it? Harmony 1. Fucking hell, that was amazing. Anyway, ADA is lows again. Dropped down to 2.1 there, 2.1 something, which is good to know that to the 2.2 range again. You can just shift it off. Likely it gets a little bit lower if the dominance keeps going on up, but there's no bad news for the alt market, and perhaps good news coming for it soon. So with regards to Binance and all those huge exchanges, now shit they've been recently. So there, good news coming for them potentially. The Bitcoin dominance increasing in the face of positive news for the alt. For the cryptocurrency markets, broke those significant resistances there. That price action is over. Test what it does against its previous all-time highs, and then you'll have something more to think about. I did say that if it didn't do a proper retest of slightly lower levels in and around these places here, I didn't necessarily expect to see it break its all-time high as soon as it gets there. It may not. It may take some consolidation, which might mean that you have to wait again until Christmas or later to see big breakouts in this. But we shall see. That's what I'm thinking about. With cryptocurrency, I also think that there's lots of opportunities to make money, especially when things like DOT, well, we called that, didn't we, very well, talked about most of it, test the 50 period moving average. This itself looks like a positive uptrend continuing. Other things with huge opportunity on top sides, like this stupid small cap shit here that's like putting in positive crosses and maintaining positive things on the RSI. Is it though, actually, now? Not since. No, it's not managed to do it in the last couple of hours. It's fucked. That had a chance. We'll see. It's dropped below because of that cross. We'll see. Interesting. What else? BNB, it's usually a good indicator of what's going on. It follows Bitcoin. Test that horizontal. Test this one. Below your 50 and your 200. Take. Just do this TA again. I haven't talked about all the things I talked about earlier. Just put it on there. Ding. Dia. This is Oracle's. This is like Oracle's slight link. It's a good idea. Good business purpose, but we'll see how it goes. 200 back test onwards. See that test to 200 on lots of different things. There's a Dodge chart. It's orange. Orange. Dodges. Oranges, Dodges, churches, well. There we go. We like our big orange Dodge. This is the range it trades within. Excellent. Coming, if you use at Tradespotting, it'll be easier to see your question. Yeah, I gotta go. Drive, love you. It's all. See some in Discord later. Bye, Tradespotting, love you too. Karen Roberts, aye. See you later, buddy. Sarah, aye. If you use that, are you talking to Hey Kingman? Yeah, tell me. Astrid, do a Tradespotting, ask him again. What are we asking me again? Fuck. Astrid, do Astrid, ask him again. It'll be more visible. What? Am I not looking at this for? What is this that we're looking at here? Dodge. I'm not looking at that for anyone. If you wouldn't mind, quick look at MAXR as well. I'd appreciate it. As well as what? Did I not look at one for a second, Astrid? Lol, makes sense. Thanks. You're talking to other people when you say that. Did you ask me to look at something else before, Astrid? Who asked me to look at those other things? And was it yourself, Astrid? Astrid, tell me, did you ask me to look at something else before? Hello, Jamie, would you take a look at XTZ? Yes, I can take a look at XTZ. MF-MG-TLT, 99 cents with a banana. Thanks. Astrid, let me know what you want me to look at. If you asked me about something already before. I read your name out before, but it might be because I was asking you to at me, and then I missed it when you did it, and then I had to say it again, and now I feel like I've said your name a lot of times. I asked about UBX before. Well, I checked UBX, didn't I? So I did one for you. Excellent. And now you want to look at Maxar, but I can't keep doing them for you alone. And I did a good one there. And other people now making me do other things. Now I've got to eat bananas from MF-MG-TLT. Now I've got to eat them. That banana melted. Look, that bottom banana is a melted banana of the top one. That's the stress I'm under here. Look what you're doing to me, Astrid. Look what you're doing to me, Astrid. Graham Breaking CTX, please. I wish, Graham. I wish I'm too late now. I'm overworked monkey. I'm a wee overworked monkey that only eats porridge, and can I have some new shoes, please? Please, can I have no new shoes? See, I have to wash myself with rubber shoes. That's what it is. I don't know. I mean, people live without heat, air all the time. What? Look, guys, I've got to go. Okay, I've run out of time. I've run out of time. Tune in tomorrow, Astrid, and I'll tell you all of what I think of Maxer. Tune in tomorrow, Graham. I'll tell you all what I think of CTX. You don't need to pay me. You just need to at me. Who stepped on my bananas? Corey. It melted. It was the sun melted it. It was the ice cream banana. Observe by yourself. Look, everyone's got the bananas out now. Who stepped on my banana? I want to know who stepped on my banana. The time is... I got 428 likes. That's pretty fucking epic. I didn't... That's amazing. Thanks so much. I don't know how I got so many likes today. Stop asking me to work to the bone. Do you not care about me? Do you still want me to be here tomorrow? Sounds good. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Astrid. Tomorrow. We have it. It's a date. He's a wee porridge eater. It's true. Thanks, observe myself. I'm just a wee porridge eater. Look at me. I'm on the screen. This is me. Life-size version of me. No joke. It's me. Ha. Joke. It was a joke. Ha. Fucking hell. I should be a comedian, not a YouTuber. Or is it the same thing? Look at that behind me. Can you see it properly? You probably can't, but it's pretty freaking cool. Anyway, do you want to hear what happened, right? Coco, my dad, he's with Coco, right? Because dad's a little bit under weather, you know, Coco there, keeping company, all good like that. But then dad leaves the door open for Coco to go wandering at night, right? Coco's a small cat. You know, there's big cats and small cats. The distinction between a big cat and a small cat is it does it roar or does it purr? And a cheetah, for example, and a lion, they're not both big cats because a lion roars, but a cheetah purrs. And so a cheetah is a small cat. And Coco is quite like a small cat. So she gets out at night time, she goes fucking mental. Boom, there she's gone. And dad like lets her out, but then she didn't come back 2 nights ago and she was missing. We were all suspicious. Like, I was very suspicious. I was ready to knock heads together. And then turned out she was hiding downstairs, way downstairs in an electricity cupboard, way into the communal areas, down all the way. Still found by the person today after 2 days trapped in an electricity cupboard with loads of exposed wires. Poor Coco. Oh my goodness. It was a stressful, but she's back, thank God. Tradespotting. Bitcoin seems to be going up when all the trend and indicators kept showing it needs to revert to 24K. What is your analysis of the situation? You have not been tuning in to me for long, Mohidal, because that's not what my analysis and indicator said. My analysis and indicator said it was likely to go on, put on, let's see, potentially an Adam and Eve. It's put in testing its previous all-time high. That's what I've been thinking. And all trends and indicators keep showing it needs to revert. I mean, yeah, but you say like it needs to revert type thing. I've heard a technical analysis like this before. It needs to things. I don't know about needs to. I can tell you like that I agree with you that because it didn't do a lower test and test those support and resistance, that horizontal lower, because it didn't retest it or go back, close any of the other gaps in its previous drop, then yeah, you're like, mate, you needed to do more than that if you want to do better than you've ever done before on the top side. That's what you would feel. And I'd be with you on the feelings for it. And so that's what I'm thinking now. Like, but it is going up, hey, despite that. So when you see it do it, like, does it turn into an Adam and Eve? My experience of things that get to these places are quite often they do, which is why when it was happening down here, I was like, come on lower, but if you're not going lower, fair enough. And it didn't. And in my short positions, I can't remember, this isn't Bitcoin here, this is Dodge. But I had short to cover loads of my Bitcoin and it all stopped out in profit. And at that point, I was like, well, here, I broke that area. And then when it came back, and you know how it held 40, right? See, when it most recently held 40, I'd never done that before. That was like a big deal. And at that point, there's going to be some positive reaction. And then also the news. Have you seen the news? Last week's news for Bitcoin was really, really bullish. Probably the most bullish news for Bitcoin in the last 6 months was last week and a half. So there's that. Why am I doing this? This is work. No, I thought this is work. I didn't start this to do work. I wanted to have friends and fun on the internet. That's why I wanted to have friends and fun on the internet. And it's Monday. And my tea is so cold. You've no idea. I actually think that I'm accumulating more liquid in this glass because it's so cold in this house. I think I'm condensing moisture from there into my cup. Thanks for that. I'm pretty new, but it feels like it's being pumped pretty hard by institutions. The institutions on the Bitcoin pretty big. Yeah, well, the collateral changes that came out there at the end of 2 months ago or so that affected gold, all precious metal, Bitcoin, things like that. Those big changes came through, and that was why it was in a big period of worry and created like these anxieties in the markets and whatnot that didn't necessarily need to be there. And then you know everything about the Chinese and all their nonsense recently, which has been affecting stuff, which also means that there's maybe a good opportunity in a couple of cryptocurrencies. See how Tron and VET do, you know, because of the bounce, the very famous bounce that you'll come. Gamma Ramp is looking like it needs a fresh coat of red. It does. Is it Super Cash? You said we're chopping off. What did you make of the Tether FUD? People make a big deal about whether or not Tether have all the dollars in order to call themselves like properly value backed one-to-one on Tether, and I can see that if it isn't, it's fraud. But on the other hand, from all practical purposes, just because a number of people that are really themselves very suspicious get rich off it doesn't mean that it isn't actually quite a helpful facility overall. And like you know, I kind of think like it's a cryptocurrency. Tether's a cryptocurrency. You know, it should be judged in that context, not in the judge it in the context of a hard currency. And so, people use it and that and can use it as a floating exchange, right? You get into and out of Tether to de-risk yourself from cryptocurrency valuations because it in itself has a similar demand to US dollar, and that's because of the narrative behind it that the dollar backs it, whether it does or not. And like I think at this stage, most people would say it probably doesn't, but still it does its job, and it's true, it does, and there'll be a huge demand for it too because you need something like that, and it's the best of them. It is the best of them, and until things like, well, not say it now, because I don't know if I'm even allowed to talk about it, but until certain other things come along, it's fine. It's fine. It's the loans to the Chinese companies which are a bit mental, but they need to pull their money back somewhere. Are you talking about Tether? Yeah, loans to the Chinese companies. Yeah, Chinese and Tether, loads of the money that goes into Tether, loads and loads and loads of the dollars that went into Tether was just facilitating Asian trade in cryptocurrency stuff. And it was really good that it happened for the overall market, but I don't know. Who knows? Rocky, of course, can't be sacrificed. Tradespotting, even if people find out about Tether and it not being back properly, it seems people don't care, as that's imagined as it's the integrated in the crypto space. Exactly, my friend. This is exactly what it is. You know, everyone knows that it's a bit like fishy, but then on the other hand, it's for everyone's best interest to just shut up and carry on. So that's what everyone's going to do. Thank you, Tradespotting. You're super generous and smart. Thanks very much. And I'm glad to be here with you, learning it so much. Got around. See you next time. Wow, thanks very much. Oh, there, you're very appreciated. That's great. You asked me for something and I didn't see it. If so, I'm sorry. Tradespotting, all this talk of stinks and crypto is great, but my head needs chopping off. Mythical tickled. Mythical tickled. Well, the person who's going to do that for you is Wolfric Doomslayer. Are you ready, Wolfric? Hey, Wolfric, are you ready? Are you even there, Wolfric? Tradespotting, all of this talk. I see all of this talk, but I don't see Wolfric say nothing. Yet, pipe up, Wolfric, if you're there. Where are you, if you're there? Wolfric, pipe up, if you're there. Of course he is. Yes, my lord. Well, Miggle Tiggled has made his way up the gamma ramp. I still see he's got his pants on. Get your Y fronts off there. You're going to whap off his head. You know the score. I don't need to tell you. We're going to have some chopping and some crashing, some swooshing, some slashing, some slopping, some all of that sort of thing. I mean, I don't exactly know how it goes. I've heard the noises before. Whoa, there it is. That was it. There's no doubt about it. Wolfric did it. And there it is. That cleaned. He's doing that thing again. Wolfric, stop it. He does that. Wolfric does that. Who's getting chopped? It was Miffle Tilgood. You say who's getting chopped, but you was chopping there. I heard it. Like who? Did you not? You just flying that around your head. What are you doing, Wolfric? Ah, he's off again already. It's Miggle Tiggled. Miggle Tiggled. There he is. Miggle Tiggled. Whack off. It's too heavy. Whack it off. Get rid of it. Stop hitting Wolfric. Chop his head off already. Just one good one, please. It's all there. Just the Wolfric's getting carried away, folks. That sounded like it to me. Beautiful moment. Thank you very much, Wolfric. We'll all be in your debt for a very long time for providing this service to us and to the gods. I shall tell you how my conversation goes with them when I'm flippy flapping MF-MG-TLT's head. When I'm flapping it at the gods. Now, I don't necessarily have nice, polite conversations with them because it took us so much to get up into the room to have the conversation in the first place, you know. So I may work on that over the next wee while. My F's and my P's, crossing my I's, dotting my T's, speaking to them the way they deserve to see if it can do good. But as you'll notice, we had a big sacrifice on Friday. And what did the prices do today? Come on, you're all sitting there like, I can just watch this show in my head, but you have to speak out loud. You have to say, they went up, Jamie. You know, you have to say it out loud. Yes, they went up. Correct. It was great. His name was MF-MG-TLT. It's not any longer. Super Cashy, you're in the book here. You're dead. Super Cashy is dead, as is now MF-MG-TLT. MF-MG-TLT, you're now dead. It's fantastic. You're also now on this book of records. Look at the amount of people. Can you see it there? You can't because it's written too faintly. You filled a whole page in the book of records with dead people. Brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Also, what else would we have been eating? You know, I mean, you look around here and that. We're not going to be eating dragon fruits all day. It has to be the odd head. They went up, Jamie. Thanks, Space Monkey. The price went up. It did. You're right, Jawdog. Then down. It did. It went down again too. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that we didn't get in here chopping off heads soon enough. That's why we didn't chop off enough heads, obviously. Price went up. Exactly. Dead as a dodo. In it. Dead as a dodo. Can't be. I'm drunk on delicious sangria. It's beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to get down there and have some myself. Woohoo!